Yo, yo.
Hey, man, how you doing?
Not too bad. How are you?
I'm okay. I apologize to the live viewers for being slightly late, but the chat has informed me that if I show them the dog, that I will be forgiven. So the deal has been made.
There you go. Also, it doesn't matter. This grief is temporary, and it erases, and then the MP3 is forever. And that's all that matters into the future.
And then we'll be dead.
Yes. But the temporary grief of the few in the moment that will be forgotten before the hour is over has very little weight and meaning.
So what's up, man? What's going on? How is your temporary week of grief and excitement ready to fade into the ether bin?
Well, apparently, talking about weight and gravity and what does matter, I've seen the only thing that seems to matter is gaycation.
Oh, you saw about the gaycation.
So I'm like, why is all this noise about gaycation now?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's going to be that time of year.
And upon further research and looking into the Gaycation and realizing we're not talking about the 2016 television series.
Wait, that's a what? Really?
Apparently, by Vice.
Oh, didn't know that.
Apparently, not talking about that. Talking about the current discussion about
the current discussion of the Gaycation, which all straight men do once a year,
which I have discovered, and now I refuse to believe it's real. Change my mind.
So
I refuse to believe that post is real. I don't.
So Paige went ahead and she did a Am I the Asshole stream a couple nights ago, where she discovered the post like, am I the asshole for telling my husband he can't go on a gaycation with his brother-in-law?
Gotcha. Okay.
And that's why so much news about the gaycation now.
Well, I believe that story is fake and gay.
So, I mean, as gay as the cation. But there was a roller coaster because it reads like cult shit. And it's like, you have to surrender to the gaycation lest be destroyed, mind, body, and soul. But at the end of that stream, she went back and found like all the earlier versions of the gaycation story.
Okay.
So, am I the asshole for believing that for not believing my boyfriend who said that he had a gay experience in Utah because of the altitude?
Okay.
And then like going back like 6, 7, 8, 9 years of various variations of gaycation storylines,
different posters,
which all like what's that?
Different posters.
Different posters, but they all read like they're written by the same person.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, because make no mistake, like the premise is eternal, right? This is something that will be asked into Reddit for as long as the internet will exist. Is this mysterious man-only retreat that my husband is going on, is this a real thing? Do other guys know about this? Is this a bit or not? That'll be a real question. But
it is a bit. That is accurate.
But is it a bit of it? Yeah, it can be a bit while being real, I suppose. But my only thing is just to say that the verbiage of surrendering your soul to the gaycation,
or else be destroyed.
That is the author's touch on a shit post. That is the end of your you write with your plume and the feather, just you wave it into the air when you stroke that ink onto the page.
I think the reason why the gaycation story is so compelling is that you have run into, at some point in your life, people who just have convinced themselves very deeply of a completely insane nonsense reason for why something must be, right? Like the classic like straight version is like, I didn't even love any of those girls, baby. They don't mean nothing to me, right?
Yeah,
it doesn't count.
I was just fucking them. I make love to you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just bros. We're just jerking off into tornadoes. It's so straight.
Hey,
we're just bros hanging out.
J.O. Bud, all right? Looking for a J.O. Bud.
How am I supposed to recharge my crystals, woman? That's and then the confusion of like, I guess this could be a thing. Internet could be a thing. I mean, I'm not at the bro sesh. Is this what they do when they're talking about Call of Duty and the football?
I feel a little bit sad though that we never quite found out the follow up to the tornado, Bud. Because
I assume someone answered his ad and then they went and jerked off into tornadoes and they were good friends.
Perhaps, but like, was that the end of the movie? Was it two backs facing each other as the tornado comes in, and then we just cut to credits?
And they're wrapped around the pipe.
Yes,
with their belt like in Twister.
Yes, because that was a very crucial detail. Was that the buds needed to tie themselves to a pipe to make sure they stayed secure so that they could handle the tornado as it passed through.
Because you don't want to fly away. You want to be like Helen Hunt, like secure, like Bill Paxton. One of the only movies he doesn't die in.
But you have to be close enough to make sure that the release never hits the ground.
No gay stuff.
Of course not. Who's talking about that? No, it has to. You have to get it going right into the air and like let nature do its thing.
Yeah. It's natural, like a tornado. It's a force of nature that would destroy you if you do not submit.
I mean, you like to witness the power and the might, of like a real finger of God, as they say, the F5.
Yeah.
And to think to yourself, not I want to chase it and I want to capture it on film and I want to get the readings.
No, I want to fuck that thing.
I want to get it pregnant.
I want to get Tornado Chan pregnant. Get over here.
Right? To just Tracy Morgan.
If the sky is green, it's time for peen. Come on.
I mean, it's just that comes from deep inside in a place that no one can follow, Am I writing down Tornadussy?
No, I'm not. I'm not telling you to do that.
All right.
No, don't do it.
All right.
Oh.
What's going on?
So aside from your impending gaycation, what's up?
Well, yeah. I mean, you say that.
I did.
Well, yeah, not too much. Played some more Cyberpunk, and can I just say, holy shit, Automatic Love. What an awesome mission. What a fucking cool...
Oh, you're now past me.
Okay.
No, I don't care. I don't give a shit. You talk whatever you want to talk.
All right. Fair enough. Yeah, it's a nice early tone setter. And it reminds me of the moment you walk out of the Whirling in Rags and Disco and you let Shivers take over.
Yeah.
It's one of those, right? Where you go, okay, I see what's possible with this game right now. That mission, it's called Automatic Love. It's the Judy mission in the early in chapter 2. Sells me on where this game can go and what this, at the very least, the story can be so far. It's fucking great. It's essentially a mission where you're tracking down you're trying to get back in touch with the person who set you up on the original job in chapter 1. And so early Cyberpunk spoilers, but things go wrong and you're trying to piece together what. And so to get your leads, you basically find out about a doll club, and that's basically just like a brothel. But in Cyberpunk standards, what a doll is really fucking properly dystopian, creepy, and interesting, because in the world of Cyberpunk, prostitution is my body is being rented out, and my brain I'll just check out, and then the AI will take over, the algorithm will take over.
Oh, goody.
And I'll just go to another place and then come back and then be like, cool, all right, I got paid, done and done. It's proper horror, right? Like super dark and very, very like, yeah, this is where you want to build your world, and then go like, what does each facet of the world look like when you take it all the way down to the bottom, right? So you get to this part, and because of my stats, I was able to. I'm basically trying to figure out a crime scene and place while I'm hunting for this person who's missing, and because of my stats, I was able to like walk into a room I otherwise wouldn't be able to open, and just figure out the mission right away. But as I walk out and I go, all right, I've got everything I needed to, it's like, you can still go ahead and, play the John in this scene where you have to go, talk to a doll and pretend that you're going to hook up and take it as far as you want to and see where this goes. And I'm like, all right, let's see what Cyberpunk has. And you sit down in this room and you meet the doll, and it's one of these moments where the first thing you do after you kind of get your choices of like, oh, who do you want to hook up with? Like, according to our scans, this is the right person for you. You can choose between Angel or Sky. You have these two different people that are the two different dolls that are working, and and then it goes, all right, before you go in, pick your safe word. All right, and let's go. And so you walk in and you sit down, and then like the doll like turns and goes, oh, hello, Valerie, is it? So you're dying, huh? And it's like, your options are like, what? And safe word just immediately, and it's this fucking like, you can immediately be like, nope, I'm out, that's it, we're done. And then you're like, wait, what is that name? And it's like, oh, it's what the name V actually is, except nobody but you could possibly know that.
Oh. And
it's like, okay, this is on frame one as intimate as you can possibly get. And so you could play along and be like, yeah, okay, Robo Hooker, what do you got for me, huh? We're gonna play therapy. And then you have, and while you have the and I'm gonna bring another disco reference here, but a Joyce Messier conversation, you have the most insane, like, introspective just sequence with the doll, as it's the closest and most intimate thing, and they're just kind of talking and getting closer and lying there, and like you're reaching into like what are you paying for? Are you paying for like all your deepest desires? And it's like, or it's reaching into your innermost fears and thoughts and bringing those to light. And you're like kind of like nervously, scoffishly being like, I'm just here to find out about the mission, whatever. And it's like, what are you afraid of? And it's like you get into the parts where your character is like, you've died already, you've seen the other side, and there's nothing there, and you're afraid of dying again, because the first thing you found out upon returning to this world is that you're immediately going to die again. And it's like, yeah, that's a horrifying realization for your character. And like all of the tough act strips away of like, oh, I'm from the outside, whatever. Like, I had the corporal route background, but I'm sure like whatever it is that's there, it's like, yeah, fuck all of that. This is real. This is super duper real. And you're talking to this, again, like algorithm, and then after this insane, like incredible sequence of just breaking your character down, you just have to kind of like, you're like, yeah, I don't want this to end, but then all things have to, and then you have no choice but your safe word, and then as soon as you say it, the whole thing shuts down, the algorithm pieces out, and then the host takes back over their own brain and is like, what's going on, where are we, huh? you know, and you're just like, oh yeah, you know, whatever, and you're just like, what the fuck is this world? What is this game? What is this setting? You know, and it's like, it's just the intro to this mission, and it's fucking powerful. It's really, really cool.
It was always interesting to me when you have your cyberpunk dystopia, the issues of drug abuse and prostitution in your cyberpunk dystopia and your particular flavor of nightmare are always going to come up at some point in whatever game.
Yep.
And I did not know that's how it worked in cyberpunk, because my number one thing is my knowledge of how it works in Shadowrun.
Okay.
Got re-kickstarted and had a couple games out, in which the primary form of prostitution / drug abuse in that is something called a BTL.
Okay.
Which is a better than life chip, in which you are like Johnny Mnemonic, like slotting in someone else's memories.
Oh yeah, brain dances.
But much like a brain dance, the difference is in Shadowrun is they crank it up past human tolerance, so it feels twice as good and twice as real.
Okay.
And so when you come out, you get into like a Inception situation.
So X brain dances.
Where you're horribly addicted because real life now seems dull and fake.
Yeah, okay, that's also cyberpunk as well. XBDs are in there, and they like one of the things is you experience like the extremities, and if you go into the memories of someone dying, you know, that is one of the most insane possible strength and moments of all chemicals firing. Everything your brain must be going through at that point, and you capture that and then give it to a junkie. You know, so yeah, it kind of hits on that as well. It's and then yes, editors can, you know, coordinate it and pull it back or amplify things to make your feelings, you know, to designer drug your high, right? So yeah, that's all part of what's available in the world here. But like with this element, you know, it was just a really, really strong start to I guess where this plot is going, and I guess to your expectations in, you know, I'd say in a lot of media, like in games or movies, where it's like, oh, you got to go find you know, the drug dealer or the rat or whatever. You got to go past you got to go pass by the Bada Bing, right? We're gonna head over to the strip club, and I guess I sort of expect to just kind of see like, look at our cool lighting as titties are flopping around, and then there'll be a fight that'll take place in dark light, and you know, that'll be an interesting thing. But I'm not expecting a whole lot, except for like, oh yeah, it's the John Wick with the club lighting action scene in a way. You know, I kind of just expect that when you go, we're going to the strip club, it's going to be a couple asses shaking, and then it'll be a cool set piece for your explosions. And I really did not expect it to just become this beautiful existential moment.
It's really interesting because, like, so CD Projekt did 3 games back to back that were the Witcher games, and the Witcher games are like obsessed with otherness in society, and like it's like a social context, right? Geralt is just like a lens, and he's viewed as non-human or less than human, and so then the idea is like, well, can the less than human person be more human than people in regular situations?
Right.
And that society actually sucks shit.
Yoko Taro.
And it's fascinating because cyberpunk is like nearly exclusively internal. I was like, well, what does the society look like when no one is human anymore? When that humanity is just like completely fucking gone.
Yeah,
and replaced with iPads.
And when like life is as rigged as it possibly can be from the jump. And I think I mentioned it last time, but doing, you know, side missions and you know, picking up logs and stuff, you kind of get a picture that it's like, yeah, you just like even being part of the system, you know, like does not give you any advantage over those who are not part of it and getting crushed by it. Everyone's getting crushed by it, you know. But no, so anyways, it was just a very, very strong, impressive moment, and has put a memorable, you know, impact so far into that. And I will say that, like, I mean, I don't know if it's a matter of like each character's quest lines having different quality to their writing or to the the strengths of what the topics are. But like coming from, I guess, Judy's quest line makes me very, very interested in that. Obvious Judy reasons aside, she's awesome.
I can't speak for Cyberpunk, but for a lot of big games that have this many quest lines, it seems very common to like divvy them up according to various writers.
I would imagine so.
I know for like New Vegas and Oblivion and a bunch of those types of games that it's like you get all of this guy's quests and you get all of this guy's quests and then you get the miscellaneous quests, etc.
And it does also like feel like a couple stories do this, like Game of Thrones kind of has it, where it's like the world is here, the government, the king, the rulers, etc., are one tier, and then everybody underneath in society is here, and then there's the people that slip through the cracks that everyone kind of forgets about. But like underpinning all of that is the sex workers, just streetwalkers, the like literally the brothels, like those are the people that are truly aware of and the undercurrent of all society, and everyone comes to them and they know everything, and they're the real power.
And depending on your setting, you could also institute the homeless as this underclass. So if you're playing a Like a Dragon game,
right,
the homeless know everything. They see you with their cameras. What?
Right.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
But I would say the difference between like the way a Like a Dragon setting would have it is just like the homeless are observing everybody, and that can be the same network that David Cage uses amongst the noble hobos.
Yeah,
right?
the noble. Jesus. That it's getting more mangled every time we say it over the years.
The noble hubos,
yeah,
but the nahobinos,
yeah, young man.
But no, in this case, like everyone, from the kings to the paupers are all like taking a load off and heading down to the brothel, and letting their whispers fly when they're in their moments of weakness or whatever. And so like there's just that kind of underpinning of society, and I feel like the mocks are kind of like Arasaka shitbags, politicians, and fucking I forgot their name, the Tiger Claw gangs alike used to kind of run the show here, and eventually basically all the sex workers got together themselves and said, fuck this, we're making our own gang and we'll protect ourselves and we'll fuck you up. And they're like, okay, got it, cool, we got the tech, we got the brain hack ability, we got everything in place, and like you got to answer to them, so pretty cool so far. I'm also happy that even as I started a mission where like at one point Pan Am was like, hey, get in the car, and I was like, okay, cool, and then ended the session there. And then even as the objective was get in the car, I was like, I'm gonna go open world for a bit, fuck around, and then did so, and it's like, okay, cool, and the car's still waiting, and whenever you're ready for that mission to start, there it is. So it was nice to kind of just be able to have that kind of freedom as well. And play the radio, get used to some of the different radio stations, and hear the music overall. I'm realizing with Cyberpunk that like the only real full, well, I guess no, I think there's two games that come to mind that I've played where it would have been like you have a radio station that you're fully browsing through, where one would have been GTA 3 original. But I played that on my PC, and the version I played had no radio in it, so I had to put my own MP3 files in a folder.
Okay.
So that was my weird radio experience with GTA 3. And then
that's very weird.
Yeah, and then I guess what was it? The black and white one where you're taking out the Nazis in 360 era, old school.
Not Mad World.
The Saboteur.
Oh, the Saboteur.
The Saboteur. I think I think that's like the only other one I think where I would have had that. So, because I haven't really done a whole bunch of the, I haven't really done GTA games.
We're in a new world for that, where we're like, hey, you know what, you could have like a Walkman or something, or like because like it used to be like, well, obviously music's only going to play in your fucking car. You're in the car 80% of the fucking game, right? And then as Cyberpunk, you're on foot like all the fucking time.
And also it's like, and each of these is going to have like a big, detailed, long, original radio station recording track that's part of this,
hey,
this
welcome
experience.
to KBBL 99, where your brain is fake, but these tunes are real, or whatever the fuck.
I mean, I heard like with Grand Theft Auto, like for a while it was there's like the Laszlo radio stations. And,
Laszlo's great, man.
Yeah, so that's one of the things I remember even hearing about without even playing,
And like play like one of the reasons like Paige has been streaming Fallout, and one of the reasons that Paige's like a VOD situation on her Twitch publishing situation has been so fucked up is because like playing Fallout without the radio is pointless. Like it's like abjectly worthless. Like don't bother. But when you stream it, like it just gets pinged like every fucking 10 seconds. It goes fucking muted. So at a certain point, Twitch just said, you know what? We're not even gonna auto-publish these fucking things anymore. You can just fucking do with them as you will, and then you take the fucking local recording and you throw that on YouTube, and then it says it's blocked in Russia, and who gives a shit?
Yeah. That's where I guess the multi-track, things could come in handy, but it's still annoying because obviously, like, people.
Well, with Fallout, it's really bad because you end up humming along or singing along to songs that people can't hear and sound like a fucking psychopath.
And that makes it a really annoying thing, even if people exactly right. It separates it later. Yeah. No, there's no real winning on this one, I think. And as long as Twitch and YouTube kind of treat it differently or have different guidelines, it's always going to make the double upload a pain in the ass.
It's the worst. I remember I streamed Dead Island 2, and in the options menu it's like, hey, DMCA mode removes copyrighted music, and so I turned it on and it just dropped most of the music from the game and replaced it with dead silence, including the main menu.
I had the weird club in Cyberpunk already. Thankfully it's limited, but like there's that. But I guess maybe not Afterlife, but the club before that you go to. Where it's just like, like you walking in, you just hear fucking nothing,
This club is bumping to the tunes of nothing. I guess everyone's just doing a silent disco.
With their headphones going, which you can do, right? So, right? I guess you could. And then there's the well, I talked about also the fact that like YouTube is way stricter on the like innuendo, implication, nudity, not nudity guidelines versus Twitch, was just like, if it's in a game, it's fine, So,
hey, listen, are you staring at titties for 15 minutes? Maybe don't do that.
But well, in this case, like it was the puddle underneath the dude. You couldn't see anything. He was just in like he was on his hands and knees, and all junk was covered, but like there was a puddle underneath him, and that contextually is like, flag that shit.
I want to give a shout out to two games. One is somebody in the chat mentions Hi-Fi Rush. Oh my god, A+ forever. It's the best solution. Some of those songs are better than the songs they're replacing.
I brought it up every single time.
It's unbelievable. Double shout out to Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, the game that has the most stringent copyrighted music situation, that every single video I have ever uploaded from that game has now been blocked worldwide.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. There's your other
because
outcome.
What they did is they got a late 90s club music for real in that game. So there's a bunch of like Prodigy and shit every time you walk into a nightclub.
Sick. Okay. Yeah, God, I don't even remember what it was, but like it's been popping up more and more. But there's something we uploaded recently where like some fucking fake techno group decided to claim it or whatever.
Every single part of my Metal Gear playthrough, every single one has been,
of course,
claimed on Twitch for muting that is not them.
Assholes. The problem with the Hi-Fi Rush like win is that when it doesn't work out, for example, Guardians of the Galaxy, right? You have a situation where like, yes, there's an alt soundtrack for streaming, but if it doesn't fucking slap, then Duh. Then the whole thing fails.
That's not the Guardians of the Galaxy problem. The Guardians of the Galaxy problem is that the Star-Lord playlist, I think, as somebody calls it, is okay. It's not nearly as good, but there's tracks missing. So I played that game for a sponsored stream, and during the first like big spaceship sequence where you're escaping from the planet, it was like dead silent.
There's just nothing there for some of them.
There was no generic replacement track.
Yeah. So it is a lot to like expect, you know. Well, don't just have dead silence, but if you're going to do a replacement soundtrack, that's a lot for just the streaming process. But the streaming process is so important now. You know,
well, we'll talk about the streaming process in a little bit because I'm playing a game on my own time that is like a fucking indictment of everything to do with social media.
Fair enough. I just know that I don't feel like it feels like if I were to look at a game and be like, hey, can you please spend time and resources
for me?
Like, I'm like, I understand how they can be like, no, man, we're making this for people to play on their own time. And if you happen to be online, that's a you problem. Hopefully the situation will get better with the fucking platforms. You know, now, I can get that point of view.
To be fair, Hi-Fi Rush does have a specific a reason for that. It's not just so that we can play it on stream.
It's a musical game.
Also, because the tracks they picked are expensive and popular, and eventually those rights will run out, and they want to be able to just segue. And the game music's so important, they want to just be able to turn that off, turn the key, and be like, you know what? No more Nine Inch Nails music. You can still play the game. It's still totally good, etc.
If the licensing was temporary, I wonder.
Those are big songs that they picked up,
and temporary licensing is much more affordable than permanent. But then I guess I wonder for games like not BPM, but the other one, Hellsinger.
Metal Hellsinger is all completely bespoke, unique music.
Isn't it? Wait, no. I thought that was the one with licensed tracks. I thought I'm gonna go check. BPM is original, and I think Metal.
Wait, hold on. Let me go check. Let me go.
Okay.
Metal Hellsinger. Because I played Metal Hellsinger, and it's great.
My impression is that BPM is the original one, and that Metal Hellsinger is all licensed.
Okay, hold on. No. I will end it.
And if so,
every track has been created specifically for the game by composer duo Two Feathers, with vocals by metal icons such as Serge Tankian, Randy Blythe, Alyssa White, and many more.
They worked with
big
artists, but the music itself is for the game. Got it. Okay, yeah, that's a pretty solid way to solve that problem. Mm-hmm. That'll do it too.
Also, Metal Hellsinger is incredible. It's fucking great. Oh, there is the Essential Hits pack, which gives you Feel Good Inc., Uprising, Personal Jesus, etc.
Okay.
But that is a DLC pack.
Because, when you have to think about, like, a time limit on any of these things, then, like, what the fuck happens to the game after that?
Because nobody wants to fucking deal with the nightmare that Harmonix dealt with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It just sucks, though, that, like, you know that this system feels like it's not changing anytime soon. Like,
oh no!
Like it's kind of locked into place after the last DMCA updates occurred, you know. And like, I think there was some hope when the initial like revenue sharing thing was like,
oh, it's a pile of fucking shit.
You know, they're like, oh, we're working on new ways to fix these platforms and stuff, and like,
no, you're not.
Yeah, no, you know,
I get notifications every single day going, somebody's using your footage, and it's like because I played a game and I happen to be like the first big channel to get the YouTube of the intro up. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And they're like, that's your video, and I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah, you can flag everybody if you want. You can take the power's in your hands. You can be an asshole right now. Click the button. Hey, look. Yeah,
that's not mine.
Yeah, like I think God, what was it? It was like, I think discussing Gungrave gore at some point when there was like some footage I had on screen or so. It was like, oh, do you want to claim everybody's Gungrave gore discussion videos and trailer footage or whatever? And it's like, no, I don't. Oh, yeah, you know what? But you can.
Gore, maybe I do.
Yeah, maybe I'll get paid from Brandon Heat. Yeah, it is absolute shitbaggery. And I've had entire show ideas that I've had to just trash because they never followed through on what they said they would do, which was like changing the rules around how licensed music would work on Twitch and on YouTube. You know, I had stuff that I wanted to do.
Scam.
Yeah, it fucking sucks. So anyway,
but still make the game for me though.
Add a giant extra budget,
do more to the game
for streamers. Look how much we sell for you. Look how much we
You know what? Actually, this is there's never going to be a better time to talk about this. Can we switch over to my week for one game, because it's this topic.
Hit it.
So, I like Josh Sawyer. I follow him on social media. I think he's a really smart guy. He helped make a bunch of my favorite Obsidian games. He's like the gameplay and lead director at a bunch of projects over Obsidian. The number one thing you would know him as is like the director for New Vegas, right? I like pretty much everything that Josh has put his hands on to some degree. And there was this long back and forth with like the reality of full level voice acting in games. So I think we talked about this briefly, so I'll just go quickly over it. But Pillars of Eternity 1 was a Kickstarter game and it had fairly limited voice acting. It would basically just be flavor when you met new characters kind of thing. And then Divinity Original Sin 2 by Larian came out and had full voice acting. And so then when they're making Pillars 2, the decision comes down on high that says, hey, do full voice acting. And they're like, that's really hard, right? So they did it, and what were the results? So one is streamers hate it when there's no full voice acting. We did have this discussion. Yeah. Streamers hate it, and that's bad for marketing. Players love it when it has full voice acting, etc. However, planning for full voice acting and paying for full voice acting, particularly for heavily narrative text-based games, can be really, really expensive. And it can be a lot of like extra work to integrate it, right? So, all that being said, that was a postmortem for Pillars of Eternity 2. Here comes Pentiment. So, Pentiment is, it's, you know when you play a game and you're like, oh, this is someone's baby?
Yeah. No, I'm looking at it, because when I look his name up, first I see Avowed, and then I see Pentiment.
So, you're like, oh, this is someone's baby. This is someone's, like, toying around in their margins for years. Pentiment is a game in which you play an aspiring young artist in 1518 Bavaria in a small town where you work at the local abbot's scriptorium copying books, as well as following up your own art. And there is a murder, which essentially gets you stuck in this tiny little hamlet for 20 years as you get to know the populace, and over a very long portion of the game attempt to solve the murder, figure out what's going in the town, talk to a bunch of abbots and monks and nuns about God and the nature of Martin Luther and the Holy Roman Empire and all this shit.
When you wake up and get hit with that, I want to make some shit no one's even thought of remotely once in the human history of this planet ever idea.
There is a definite Disco Elysium feeling in that it is a very small game in which it is based around passing conversation checks and getting to know an extremely small area of the world, to the point where when you start the game, the very first quest is pay your rent.
Okay.
Like you walk downstairs and they're like, I need you to pay your rent. Right. And so the first series of quests is basically begging for money. It's right. And Pentiment has no voice acting at all. And as a result of Pentiment being extraordinarily text heavy, like crazy text heavy, and having no voice acting at all, I didn't cover it, despite being a massive fan of the studio and the people behind it. And a lot of people didn't cover it. And the last that I heard, it did okay, but it was also one of those games that Microsoft bought when they bought Obsidian. And so it's kind of like a Game Pass add-on, so it did fine. But like nobody talking about Pentiment. Like nobody talking about Pentiment. And I'm playing Pentiment, and two things jump out. One, boy, it would have been hard to voice act Pentiment. So first of all, every single character is like German, or like pre-Germany German, 1518 accented. And there are like 5 or 6 different fonts for specific people. So academics, priests, peasants, farmers, and laborers all have different font styles.
Okay.
Appropriate to their station and level of education. As dialogue fills in, there will be spelling errors, which you will then see an invisible editor scratch out with a stone and correct during dialogue.
Okay, it's a writer's game. Yeah.
It is writing. So I speak to the shepherd, and the shepherd speaks in the peasant script,
right,
until you find out he can read, and then a pumice stone comes and scrapes off all his dialogue and replaces it in the educated font, which is easier to read. And then when you talk to the abbot or the brothers at the monastery, they speak in the clergy thing, which is high Gothic like style text, which is actually a little difficult to read.
Yeah. Okay. So playing with dialogue and text and script is part of
text.
the actual adventure. Yeah. Right.
Like the very first thing that you do in that game is you scrape off a Greek manuscript to draw your own art in it. Right? Like it is obsessed with the written word.
Right.
And I completely understand why this would have been prohibitively expensive to voice act.
Even if it had the budget, there's a bunch of other challenges you're describing here that
design issues alongside it. And all I can think of is like, wow, what an incredible good use case for why something shouldn't have voice acting. It should have still had voice acting.
Because you couldn't cover it.
Because I couldn't cover it, and nobody covered it. I just saw somebody in the chat say, I have never seen anyone stream Pentiment.
Yeah.
I barely see anyone talk about it. And every time someone talks about it, they go, what an incredible game. It's so interesting. It's the most amazing game. I can't believe it. And from my couple hours with it, wow, it's amazing. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I remember you giving it its flowers sometime last year when you first came, when we're talking about it. And no, it seems fascinating. It's just, this is an insurmountable problem in a way, you know? As far as covering goes.
There's a text-to-speech option, but it's like Microsoft Sam.
Sure. And I was looking into like the possibility. I was like, oh, if I was going to play something like, God, it always escapes me, but really long word count. What can change the nature of a man?
Planescape Torment.
Thank you. I was looking into the possibility of like, what if?
Fuck that.
Well, here's what I was looking. I was like, what if I had the script next to me? And then I had a text-to-speech that I could paste into that.
So here, there's like multiple different problems that show up, and I saw them in Pentiment. And in Planescape Torment, you do get minor voice acting. And this is a problem right away, because if you have like Microsoft Sam read it, well, what you're going to hear is the Nameless One talk, and the Nameless One sounds just like Ron Perlman, and he's incredible.
You jumped in the middle of there before I finished the thought, I don't want anyone thinking, no, clearly that's that's not an idea that's happening. That's not practical. But I was looking at how to address this game and how to play it and what ways there would be. And I'm like, could that even be a thing? And it very quickly revealed itself that no, that is not a thing. So I see people going like,
I streamed Planescape Torment for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I think it was actually like more difficult than Disco.
Interesting. So what I did do was read a fucking book and then play Phoenix Wright and just make it so that if I ever were to do this, I would just take the hit and do it. Which could happen. I'd have to see. But like that's a pretty insurmountable problem. And so yeah, with a game like this, you have to know going in, I guess, how old is this? Is it
it's like 2 years old.
2 years old, right? By this point in design, you're talking whenever it started development, 2018, maybe 2019 at the earliest, if it was a thought, and then it became a concept that they executed on in 2021 or so. Like, the landscape for a small game, just it's not impossible, but boy, is it fucking hard to thrive if nobody can stream your game at the same time as like relying on word of mouth to get out there about it, yeah, that's a huge...
We're part of the system now, man.
I mean, how did people...
Like, think about think about Unknown 9.
Uh-huh.
Yeah?
The that's the Witcher spinoff that didn't take off.
No, it's not. What the fuck?
Am I Okay.
Perfect. This is such a perfect example of what I'm talking about.
So before you, so I was looking through stories and I was putting together and seeing what's going on, and here's where I don't know what's going on. Nobody
does. That's my favorite part.
So I saw an article that was describing that a character from the Witcher TV show, I believe Anya was the name, was supposed to have their own spin-off or series. And it was making reference to Unknown 9, or that was being discussed in it. And I was going through, and I quickly saw the story. I didn't get the whole thing, so that's what I was just asking.
I think that might have been one of the actors.
They were talking about the person from the TV show. I understand. Okay. So I read. Yeah, I was reading a story quickly, and then that was one of the parts. So that's why I was just like, oh, is it connected to this bit? Gotcha.
So Unknown 9 is a game that came out like a couple months ago, I guess, and I never heard of it, even though I went back and looked, and like you and I both watched trailers for it at various game shows. It would just delete. I think we even talked about its title because the name is Unknown 9 Awakening, and it's one of those instant delete titles.
Unfortunate. If you're getting
Stormgate.
Yep. If you're watching the industry too closely, you hear these names too often.
It's the story world, and by the story world they mean it had like 2 podcasts and 2 books written for it before it came out. And all that shit. And its enduring legacy is one of the only games that, like, I think Gigaboots failed to death stream because he just got too bored. We're gonna do the death stream. Fuck it, it's not worth it.
What? Okay. So we know that the multimedia property can work if you start in one place and then expand into others. But like, has the simultaneous push like worked at any point in the last 10 years?
Never.
20?
I saw the only one that people will tell you it worked is Dead Space 1. Because there were a bunch of motion comics and comics that came out before Dead Space 1 to set it up.
I remember the motion comic because I watched it in Dead Space Extraction, which I also enjoyed.
But Dead Space was going to be fine because it looked like Resident Evil 4 in space.
Yeah, I saw someone say Fate Stay Night, and I'm like, I remember the timeline of when... Like, I guess Tsukihime was over, and then they were, like, announcing the next thing, and it was that one, like, it was a key graphic of, like, whatever, the Fate Stay Night announcement. But I think that even came out as, like, one thing and then slowly started working into other mediums. I don't think it was a multimedia blitz from different things at the same time. I don't recall that being the case. I saw
somebody say Chronicles of Riddick, and I think that's really funny. The idea that, well, you remember that I made those Vin Diesel movies before putting out Escape from Butcher Bay to like hype up Escape from Butcher Bay?
Yes, of course. Pitch Black and whatnot.
Yeah, remember?
Totally. Yeah. Oh boy.
It's part of the story world.
Yeah. Okay, so .hack absolutely fits into the description that we're talking about here, but is anyone Is anyone going to stand on business and say that .hack is like good as a whole? Because I'm not under that impression, but I've only seen .hack/sign and liminality, and that was it for me. Now, I know that there's some games that people like or some of the things, but when you put it all together, is it batting 500? What are we batting here? I don't know, but it feels as if, as time has gone on, it feels as if it has been more bad than good. I'm seeing mixed feelings from everybody, though. Okay. Yeah, some work, some don't. 80-20. Okay.
That's good.
It is also one of those series that is, you want to talk about the Kingdom Hearts putting it all together level of batshit.
Yeah.
Try to put the .hack timeline together.
The situation is always the same. It's like, oh, you know what? Look, Kingdom Hearts and Nier Automata and all these things, look, they have these wide sprawling things that can keep people involved even between development. You know what we should do? Before the game even comes out or the movie comes out, let's just flood the fucking airways with comics about something no one's ever heard of. Yeah. Let's fucking do it.
Stop the episode you're on. Go play this game up to chapter 2. Now resume where you were.
Did I tell you how insane the reading order for the Witcher series is?
You did. Yeah.
That's the worst one I can think of.
I think .hack gets dumber if you're trying to piece it all together sensibly, because it involves you starting and stopping multiple things to switch back to a different thing. And
I saw an insanely cursed Like a Dragon timeline in which you play through games until you get to flashbacks so that you can order up the flashbacks as they happen.
Oh god.
So like you play 0, but then you start to play 1, but only the 2005, only the 1995 section, and then you play this until you get to the flashbacks that take place before 1990.
Oh my god, that's painful. Yeah. I think looking back on it, seeing two .hack related things, the soundtrack to hack sign, .hack /sign, was good, and the rest was bad. I did not like it, and then Liminality was even. It felt okay. I remember watching this. It was like a partial OVA series, and like there was.
Oh yeah. Somebody put it in the chat. There it is.
And it was so wild because the characters in the real world were like going into the game, but this series was based on not showing you the in-game stuff. So you just focused on the characters with the headsets on, talking to each other as like music was playing, and they're like, "Oh my god, hold on, watch out!" And it stayed on just the characters going, "Oh no, wait, what?" But you were not allowed to go into the thing because, yeah. Anyway, all right.
Don't jump.
It was packaged.
You know if the thing has any juice. How about that?
Because you're packaged with the games, and so you're supposed to switch between the two to fully. I
can only think of one project in which the core product was a dismal failure, but the pre-project story world, extra material was good enough on its own to make it worth it. And it's Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning.
Ah, right. Okay.
Because Copernicus never fucking came out because Kurt Schilling's a fucking fraud ass bitch. But Kingdoms of Amalur was all right.
I learned how to air combo without expecting it. There was some depth to that combat system that didn't expect to be there. So yes, for the Hacklemanality that was packed with the PS2 games, you play the games to see what was going on there. Does it make showing the characters wearing the VR goggles and making that the crux of what's going on any better, or not?
Man, I don't know. I don't know nothing about .hack. I know there's a guy named Orca who's really strong in the first .hack game. That's it. That's all I got. That's literally the entirety of information I have about .hack. Oh, and also GU is hard to find and expensive to buy.
The OP for Hack Sign 1 is fucking sick. That opening is such a good song. It's a banger. Da, 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 da. It was good. All right. Anyways,
but yeah, no, Pentament's incredible. Should have voice acting. I know why it doesn't have voice acting, and those are all great reasons made by smarter people than me. But shut up. It should have people talking in it, so that I can do. Shut up. Just do it. Thank you.
Okay. This makes me.
We said it for disco, and we were super right about disco. So hey.
This makes me sad about Pentiment, and now I'm kind of like, oh fuck. I kind of want to know. You know.
Play it yourself.
Yeah, I guess so. That's a sleeper hit, and unfortunately, fucking the culture we propagate makes it worse. Yeah. So
it's not my fault, it's the consumer's fault. If Twitch chat just learned how to read, I wouldn't have to read to them.
From this tiny little screen in the tiny little text window.
You asked me this a little while ago, man. And you asked me like what language I play the Like a Dragon games on. I said English because it's so much easier. But there was actually a breaking point for that where I at some point go, oh, it's hard to read out all this fucking dialogue and all the Japanese dialogue. Can't you guys just read this shit on their subtitles? And the answer is not on my fucking phone. I can't. It's like a single line of pixels. And then I'm like, oh yeah, well actually, no, you actually totally can't read text on the screen at all. Shit. English it is. Please
look forward to the computer plugin which you install, which recognizes text on your screen for accessibility purposes and will just read it all out. You know, essentially like a blind assistance tool, and then you just stream with that on, so that a Siri British voice can...
I mean, I need a blind assistance tool to see items on the ground.
Oh,
I don't think...
Yeah. you need a Reggie there. Just like, hey, what's that? Oh, yeah, shit. Oh, fuck. Right. Anyways.
What else you got going on, bro?
So played some Tekken 8. Went back to the DLC on that because I hadn't gotten around to it in a minute. They put Heihachi, Lydia, and Clive in that game, and that's all really cool. But,
definitely dead.
But more importantly, they put the ability for you to select your main character, main menu person.
That's good.
And now you can go and grab who you want and stare at anyone. So if you don't want Kazuya's titties or DLC faces, you can go into your outfits and pick the Reina with the glasses and put that as your main one, and then she's going to be there every time you go to the main menu. It was
yes,
yeah, exactly. And and then they added some other online features, training online and stuff like that. Going into it, it seems like, hey, guess what? Heihachi works pretty well in a system in like he's always worked in, except now you can do super dashes when you activate heat. And Tekken has decided, I touched on it a little with Eddie, but they've decided there's a clear design philosophy with all DLC. You know how every time, there's always something different and like appealing that's more than just a base roster character with
it's like, it's a new one.
What's going on here, right?
If they should have been a base roster character, then it's like, oh, thank goodness.
But like even the things in like Street Fighter where they're like, let's give them a taunt that unlocks some extra crazy bullshit, right?
Yeah.
Like with Bison or Akuma.
They're coming with new music that's different from the style of the rest of the game.
Poison systems on Aki, or like homage extra specials for Terry, and I'm sure Mai will have, she has her super taunt, and there's all these little things where they're just like, we're going to put a lot of extra effort in, and in some cases, have a very obvious sort of new system in place.
And it makes sense because the base roster means it's like $2 a character or $4 a character or whatever, but the DLC characters is more like $8 to $10 a character. So you got to really increase the value.
Yes. People are also referencing, the Smash DLC meter, when you pick a Smash DLC character and you see like, okay, ready, or the little beat meter, or the, the hero like drop down, like there's always that little extra bit, yep, that's a DLC character right there who's got a special function. So Tekken is like, we need to sell you a character, and there needs to be a number under the life bar that makes you feel them powering up. And it's like literally all of them have it, and in some cases it's drastic, and in some cases it's very minor, but it always is a part of the DLC. So Eddie Gordo came out and they gave him I called them Mandingo points, but it's like the Mandinga stance where he goes into You're getting hit. You're getting just catch up. All right. Mandingo points. So you go into the Mandinga stance where it's the banana tree stance, and then you can do a couple of different kicks when you're upside down, and it's okay. You're all confused if you're. Don't worry. Tekken, we know what we're talking about.
I'm gonna just
keep up.
This is the most Tekken fucking conversation ever.
It's okay. Just move past it. It's okay. So you flip upside down, and he can do a couple of unique moves from this stance. And every time you do certain sequences or combos with him or certain moves, at the end of it, he leans back and goes bam, and you see like a big power up, and the number underneath his life bar goes up, right? And you see it go to level 1 and level 2 and then level 3, and like you kind of feel like, oh, he's getting stronger, and nothing's really happening. It just makes a couple of moves from this one stance get a little bit better. It's very subtle, they become pretty good moves, but it just feels like your DLC character is really getting stronger, because that number went up, and it would have been very minor if he did or didn't have that little effect, So Heihachi comes out, and he's got a meter as well. And it's a number, and it's every time you activate heat with him. The once per round like sort of ability that Tekken 8 has, that number goes up by 1, and when you finally get it to 3, you can then do a big old explosion, and he gets powered up, and now he gets access to better versions, better frame data, and safer versions of normal things that he does that are kind of like old Heihachi. So it makes him really, really good, but it's still a very subtle thing compared to the feeling of, bah! But it's there, and you watch the number go up, you're like, yeah, he's getting strong, Lydia has a number, right?
And do you know what that makes you feel? Man, it makes you feel like, man, I bet he could totally beat Kazuya if they won another round.
Oh, if he won another round, it was
I bet he could do it now.
He stopped him, yeah. And again, competitively, you get to that point with him, and you can do all kinds of insane pressure, and people get blown up. But yeah, Lydia has one as well, and then of course Clive, he's got the Odin meter, right, where you build the levels up, and then you can do the dimension slash, and as you sort of use, because he switches weapons as you fight with Clive. So all of that, and those at level 4, you do, or 5, you do like fucking insane damage if you do the cash out move that he does. So Zantetsuken, yeah. So it really is just like, all right, every one of these characters, you're gonna see that number going up as you play, and you're gonna feel like, yeah, even if you use it or don't, And I think Harada has like locked in on that specific feeling for the whole season. Fortunately, I guess I can say that when Noctis came out, it did feel like kind of what it felt like. You drop a character in, you give him some very annoying buttons, some very simple, 2. You press it, and you get a very oppressive series of weapon combos that are just fucking you up. And in this case, they kind of pulled back on some of that, where it's like he has a bunch of weapons. He's Danteing in the middle of Tekken. He feels so much like he should be in Soul Calibur, but
yeah.
But it's not as ridiculous as Noctis felt, at least just for a beginner. But he does feel like a really cool, faithful, obvious, version of the character. The attention to detail they put into Akuma and Geese and all that, they've put into Clive. And as you're kind of doing stuff with him, it's like when you have little things where you switch to Bahamut, and you're off the ground, so the wings come out, and like you're doing the floating stance with him. And if anyone goes for a low, it automatically gets low parried.
Of course it does.
Because you're off the ground. Why that shouldn't work, right? You can do your giant Titan punch, and that's his big armored take the hits and then blast through it move. Like it takes all of the icons and just puts them around the places where the this is what an armored move would be. This would be a tracking move would be. So if you try to sidestep, he does the Garuda he does like a slash, kind of sideways, and it's like, yeah, right. The Garuda kind of serves that purpose. Every time he jumps, you see the little wind on it. It's really cool. I like him.
So I think that Street Fighter's done like a pretty good job with its guest characters in that there's Terry, and Terry fits in great. But like putting Terry Bogard into Street Fighter is like putting jelly into your peanut butter sandwich. It's like the most no-brainer, no effort shit ever. Like, yeah, okay, we know how Terry would work. And Tekken has been putting like all these weird fucking characters from like 2D fighting games, non-fighting games, and has kept them very, very accurate to their feel.
Yeah,
and it's very impressive.
Like, I feel like somebody who could walk along and be like, "Wait, Terry wasn't in Street Fighter already?" And that would be a normal reaction.
Oh, I thought he was in Capcom versus.
Wasn't
SNK.
that a thing? Yeah, right. But I think because Bandai are the same Soul Calibur, folks, they know themselves how wild guest characters can get and how that can be a big hit.
Like Soul Calibur is dead, so like there's at least one guy who moved teams probably and is like, well, I know how to make weird guest characters. We put Jedis in some of our fighting games.
Well, I mean, Harada had a big thread talking about exactly how and why Soul Calibur is currently dead. It was a really good discussion, and like he kind of broke down that, essentially just a strong team with a clear vision that was willing to kind of ignore the higher ups, and just like plow through. And they kind of competed internally, Project Soul and Tekken Project, with each other as almost like Team Red and Team Blue over at ArcSys, But the series that like championed, invented, and honestly perfected the guest character in that first one, Soul Calibur 2 with Link, Spawn, and Heihachi, was
absolutely
gangbusters.
Totally agree.
Killed it. Smash Brothers is like it's an entire franchise about guests, so it feels kind of like almost like an unfair comparison in a way. But I feel like that first one was a slam dunk that we almost have yet to top. But yeah, nonetheless, Final Fantasy, big Japanese franchise. You can find it's not the weirdest fit, as long as we can keep it not AMC's The Walking Dead. I think I'll be okay. I think I'm on board with wherever we go from here. And then there's the ones where you kind of just don't even remember they happened, like Cole in Street Fighter Cross Tekken.
Cole is like a more interesting fighter than Street Fighter Cross Tekken deserve to keep for just themselves.
Is he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
He's got like a wide variety of electricity powers. It's kind of like Clive in that respect of like he could have done like tons of weird shit. But do you remember the kerfuffle about his look going into Infamous 2? What might have been the most dog shit gamer thing that's ever happened?
I don't.
So Cole in Infamous 1 looks like a bald space marine wearing like a yellow jacket.
Yeah, shaved head man. Yeah.
He like 360 man, like to a T, right? And then in the second game, they're like, we're gonna change up Cole's look for something new and exciting, and then they just made him into Nathan Drake, like white guy with short brown hair.
From 360 military guy to Nathan Drake guy.
And people were like, fuck that! No, we love classic Cole. And so then they changed him back to bald, weird-looking Space Marine man, and it's like, oh yeah.
Okay.
What hot sauce do I want? Ketchup or catsup?
Okay.
Like, holy shit!
It's like we went from Afro to Killmonger back to Afro. Okay. Yeah.
Terrible. Like, unbelievable.
For me, I just all I remember really is the infamous prototype, like what is what, who is who, cats and dogs, what world is this, confusion, and then
I'll tell you what, Infamous is a way better game. I love Prototype way more.
Yeah, because of the dude.
No, bioorganic nightmare thing powers and how fast you would go were more fun than well-produced, good-playing Electricity Powers.
Well, I remember seeing them both and going, one of them feels like your Venom, and the other one feels not like that, right?
Yeah, well, because it's the guys who made Prototype made the Hulk Ultimate Destruction games.
And then there was the DLC Infamous campaign where you had the paper ability that looked pretty cool.
No.
Was that it? No?
That is not right.
Whoa.
So Infamous 2.
Oh, no.
Oh, man, this is ancient PS3 knowledge.
Lore.
The Infamous 2 had a vampire DLC setting. And then the third game called Infamous Second Son, that was the crazy one because instead of electricity powers, you had smoke, paper, neon, and television.
Okay. It was an Infamous DLC. It wasn't the second game.
It was the third game.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, but that was Infamous, right? Yeah. Okay. Right. And I remember being excited by that because I like Read or Die.
Infamous Second Son spinoff that was neon because you played as the neon girl.
Okay, not paper. No. Okay, maybe I'm just thinking too hard of Read or Die. I feel like my brain is.
I think the worst part about Infamous Second Son is that the enemies get the power of concrete, which is awesome, and you spend the entire time fighting concrete dudes, and then you get you get concrete as like the final upgrade when you beat the final boss, but then you can use it, and there's nothing to use it on.
Oh, boo.
You're like, what the fuck?
And they teased paper, but then you never got it? Okay, so I saw something that made that, put that thought in there. Yeah, okay. They teased it and then fucking didn't do it. Boo. Paper control is so cool. That's such a cool, like, power. But not wood. Not wood, specifically the process of converting paper into papyrus into fucking.
I'm gonna say something so brave. Are you ready for this bravery? Because I went back to Ghost of Tsushima this week and been playing it, and I cannot believe that the team that made Infamous and Infamous 2 and Second Son are the people that made Ghost of Tsushima. It is such a fucking quantum fucking leap forward in quality. It is so unbelievable.
That was how open world, I guess, in scale were the Infamous
Second
games?
Son?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, the Infamous games are open world, absolutely. You had 3 islands.
Oh shit. Okay.
Like it's
Oh my god, there was that Naruto character with the paper control. I'm thinking of Yomiko Reedman, y'all.
Oh, maybe you are.
Anyway, so yeah, Tekken DLC check. Yeah, very cool. I like Clive. Lydia was doing cool shit. She was doing traditional Polish karate, and
Is that a thing? Or did they just make that shit up?
So I was kind of, I feel like, and I might be getting this incomplete, but I feel like I was like, wait, so, because she's like the most Polish pride ever, right? She's the prime minister, and she's speaking it, and she's killing it, and she looks so cool. And I'm like, and so what about, is there not like a style that is like most appropriate for her to do besides something Japanese? And it's like, no. There's actually a really strong martial arts community in Poland that like has been doing it for a while that kill it. So fair enough. It makes sense.
I remember,
and then she takes you to the Polish dimension when she does her super.
Back in like Tekken 3, I remember reading an article with, I don't know if he was even credited as the director, but it was probably Harada. I was like, how do you guys figure out what new fighters to have? And then the answer is they pick the country, and then they go, well, what fighting style fits this country? And then they're like, what would a cool person from this country look like? And then they just do it, and that's it. That's the whole design process. Yeah, you know. And like, and in some cases, I know like so Harada did a whole thread on like how Josie came to be and how they like, tried to go as accurate as possible and stuff. So they put more research in, or of course, like you get Fakam Rum with the Muay Thai and stuff. But in this case, yeah, it's the Polish prime minister. And she does Shotokan,
and she brings you to a fucking Tsukiyomi that's all white and red.
Yeah.
And you're
Polish people can do that.
Yeah, that's it. You know, that's how they communicate with each other. They have the Polish paths. They can. They can.
That's so stupid.
They can all talk, and suddenly, while the world is on a normal timeline, all Polish people appear in a desert that's all white and red, and they can talk to each other.
That's true.
Anyway, no, she's pretty cool. Always thought she was a dope character. And then I guess the only other thing is in Rivals, been trying to learn some more characters, mix it up a bit, and I got fucking annihilated by I played a couple games where you jump in and you realize, okay, everybody's about the same skill level here, and we're all having a fairly normal match. You know, everyone's whatever KD is where it's supposed to be. But then there's just one Hawkeye that's just murdering the entire game. And you're like, oh man, if you have good aim, you are the game. You're the whole thing.
No, you don't have to have good aim. That's why Hawkeye is good, because the hitbox on the headshot for his arrow is like a full character size.
Is it easier to land a headshot with him than other characters?
Yes. Absolutely.
Oh.
The headshot radius on the arrow is like 5 feet. It's like a 5-foot sphere on the head of the arrow.
Interesting. Okay, because I've been playing him to try and see him like, let's fuck around with this and see if I can get my aim better, because I've always had bad aim. And I'm like, every once in a while, I'm like, oh shit, I'm actually landing it. That's nice, because I feel as if every arrow that whiffs or like just hits a body or so, I'm like, damn, that could have been a kill, you know? But
yeah, so the trade-off from Widow to him is that Widow is hit scan but requires like pinpoint accuracy, whereas he actually fires a projectile, but to accommodate that, the projectile is actually like 10 times the size that it looks.
Okay. So I mean, the Hanzo comparisons aside, did Hanzo also have an increased headshot hitbox?
Yeah, it did.
Oh.
And the other thing about Hanzo is Hanzo didn't have to look at you for a couple seconds to power up the power of his shot.
There's that part of it as well.
That's why Hawkeye has that exact mechanic, so that he doesn't turn into Hanzo.
Okay. Did Hanzo always have easier headshots than everyone? Because I feel like Hanzo mains as a meme has always been, you have fucking terrible aim, stop picking the character that requires you to have good aim.
Now I'm unsure, but
okay.
I know that when I played Hanzo 35 years ago,
I thought the whole bit was aiming is hard. You don't have the skill. Stop wasting.
No, aiming is hard. So pick Hanzo, because his hitbox is big.
Okay. Well,
don't pick Widowmaker because aiming is hard. Pick Hanzo.
So yeah, messing around with him and such, and I I'm like, I do feel like every once in a while when you get it, it's like, oh fuck, that's cool, that's nice, and it is a nice, like, I want to play him more, not only to like because that's incredibly useful to have from the back line and stuff, but you can. But like I need what's it called? It's tracing, right? Practice, where you just like following the target with your mouse or with the in this case the joystick, you know. It's a different motor skill from with twin sticks than it is from like WASD and mouse, you know, tracking and leading, yeah. So that's been particularly fun. And then on the complete flip side of that, messing around with Cloak and Dagger.
Cloak and Dagger are great. I love Cloak and Dagger.
Us against the world. Just like hit the Winston electricity button. You know, all right, switch it up. Fuck out of there. Get up close, annoy. But don't be the...
Don't aim. Fuck that.
Yeah, but also then like there's been some games where like the dagger immediately switches over to cloak and starts rushing like a DPS.
Yeah, you can.
You can.
You need DPS for 2 buttons.
But if your team needs healing, you should probably stay on healing duty more than you should.
What you should do is you should be what you should have is your cooldowns should always be ticking because you've used everything up at all times.
And if you overextend, you also put yourself in a squishy bad position. Well,
that's why you've got, I'm invisible. No one can see me on cloak.
I mean, I feel like something I have learned over some Overwatch lessons back in the day and then to now with Rivals is healer duty, stay on heals, do your job. And if everyone is looking pretty healthy, try to take some picks, try to take some shots, contribute to the fight. And if someone comes after you, fucking survive. Do what you got to do. But the times to overextend and chase down a kill and go all the way in are extremely rare, and holy fuck, you better land the pick.
I have a piece of information that I learned from Final Fantasy XIV, and it's applicable to all games in which damage is going in and out. Doing more damage is also damage mitigation. The enemy cannot hurt your team if you killed them.
Yes.
That is Cloak's purpose.
But when you're racing down someone's life bar and like if you're chasing down like a Venom, and Venom is like, thanks for the damage, idiot.
Just don't
you know
do
what
that.
I mean? Like, the fuck you doing, right? Yeah.
No, Cloak's best ability is his E, which is the fucking damage debuff that makes everybody purple.
The big swirl.
Everybody can use it.
To get in here. Yeah, so that's fun messing around with that, and Cap to some degree as well.
Cap's so goddamn weird.
It feels really fun though to have like someone that moves that fast and can jump that high and just is mobile compared to the rest of the fight.
Be super annoying. Be as annoying as you possibly can.
But if you run and jump, then you are probably not holding the line. So be smart about that. And when you properly, I didn't quite realize it like until getting in there, but like the system of like landing a couple melee hits and now you can throw the shield out is a pretty cool way to do it. He's like, you can't just sit back and plink the shield around, but you got to get in there. But once you do,
but on your way out, you can go.
Yeah, that's a fun way to design him. A
lot of dive tanks in this game.
Yeah, Hulk. Fucking
Hulk and Cap, all dive tanks.
You can kind of do it with whatchamacallit as well.
And Reed, actually.
Yeah, because of his fridge mode. It's spider time!
I hate that button so much. It's so gross. I hate it.
Thor and Strange. Yeah, with Strange in particular, you can do the fly, unfly, and then drop your Eye of Agamotto. In a very jump right over the line and then get behind it and get everybody. So dive tanking is like, I'd say half of the tanks are meant to do that. Pretty cool. Anyway, yeah. So that's pretty much it.
I like that game a lot. That Marvel Rivals is great.
Yeah. And I saw some of the new costumes, and then I saw the next round of upcoming costumes, and they look really cool. And you're also like, oh yeah, this game was made in China.
Oh yeah, it's the same cycle. You get new costumes, second batch of new costumes.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a Chinese game. Hey,
yeah.
Oh.
Like Chinese Doctor Strange looks cool as shit, and Chinese Moon Knight is doing it, and we're getting the whatchamacallit, the Lion Lucio Ball game. They just kind of showed the trailer for. So yeah, with the Chinese New Year celebrations, all those outfits are dropping, and it's like, oh yeah, so there's like probably going to be something like that for the entire cast, I imagine. And eventually, yeah. And you know what? I will gladly take all of that while Street Fighter delivers nothing.
Well, listen, you have to buy Street Fighter.
This is true. Cosmetics are the lifeblood for
cosmetics
free play.
are the Marvel rivals.
You're right. It's not the same comparison. That is true. However, you're seeing the cosmetics go to the other side of the game with an increased frequency that makes you go, well, what the fuck are we doing here? You know?
We have like a discussion where we talked about how like someone on Capcom said that like most of the money is going to Avatar costumes.
I was theorizing that because it would only make sense given the decisions we've seen them make, right? They're putting so much emphasis on it that one has to think, oh, this makes a ton of money. They're making all these costumes.
Or they think it might.
Or, yeah, like this is a game plan they're following through on because we can't follow the logic otherwise. Everyone is like waiting for the main, costumes for the characters, and instead
we'll get another batch of costumes on after this season pass is over.
Anyways, that's pretty much it. So yeah, no streams this week, as I've announced. Gonna be over at MagFest for the rest of this week until the weekend. So yeah, come through. There's gonna be
you have to go to MagFest lest you be destroyed.
Lest you be destroyed. There's something deep inside of me. Is it, fellas? A concerned wife here wants to know: do the boys have to go to MagFest? Is this a thing? Is this real? No, so there will be a series of events, and I've posted the schedule on my Twitter, but Friday at 4 p.m. in Panel Room 2 is the Dokapon Incident. Then at 9:30 is Versus Wolves Live, and then there'll be a signing on Saturday as well. And then, I'm going to be doing a event with Sonic Fox as they play Mortal Kombat 1. And I just sit by and go, oh, damn, shit, that's crazy.
Is he still like the undisputed fucking God King?
I would assume they're still the undisputed God King, and if not, it's like give it a week.
I remember they were talking about it was Sonic Fox that was like, I'm not even good at this game.
Lol.
Y'all are just trash.
Lol, LMAO. Probably, I believe so. Like, I don't even really, because I mean, look, there's only so much attention you're going to pay to it, and at a certain point, it's like, as the servers dry up and you sit in the throne, there's only so much to do, The
real throne of an empty world metaphor going on here,
like Shao Kahn. Anyway, so yeah, come hang out at MagFest. Should be a good time, everybody. All right, what's going on?
I beat Metal Gear Solid 2. I beat Metal Gear Solid 2 yesterday, and I got to the part where we installed the virus worm on GW on Saturday, simultaneous to TikTok going down. And it's like, let me tell you, man,
you did it,
man. That shit is even more like future telling me than you remember it being.
Oh yeah, Hideo was righter than ever.
There's like a specific, like the one that got me is that like you're talking to the president and he's like, well, the Patriots wanted me to make a space force, so I had to make a space force. That was the Patriots idea.
Damn.
And you're just like, wow, I fucking forgot about that one.
Damn.
That's crazy.
Okay, but what I really want to know, and this has been bugging me for a while, but I've never just gone to check.
Yeah.
How did the katana on the second stick feel after all this time?
Like shit.
Damn it!
It feels like garbage.
Shit! Fuck! It's not good.
It feels like trash, dude.
God! I want it to be good in my memories. I want the katana on the right stick to be good.
Shit.
I want it to be.
Bad.
I want it to be cool.
It feels really bad.
God damn it!
I was talking about this yesterday. I was like, "Oh, this sucks," and like
it really was Revengeance that saved it.
Down to try and do like a combo. Raiden inexplicably like tilts to the left on every sword swing. So in the Solidus boss fight, if you try and do like 5 sword swipes in a row, Raiden will actually turn 90 degrees to the left and stop hitting him.
God damn it! Okay, it was just Revengeance then, because like
It's really bad.
You know,
it's really bad.
As someone who's like, I got one eye squinting and peeking at fucking Fight Night 3 with the uppercut motions of like moving and leaning, and jabbing and stuff and using the stick. I was like, I'm always like, hey, a button is a button, and that's the simplest way to input your moves in a fighting game, and that's important. But how fucking interesting and fun is it to be able to lean and swerve and hook, you know, on Fight Night 3? And then I'm also squinting and staring at the other eye at fucking Bariki 1, you know, where it's like, use the stick to do your moves and use the buttons to move around. The weirdest game ever.
Monster Hunter 1 and see how fun that system is.
I remember hearing the nightmares about that. But I'm like, damn, I remember swinging that stick around, but I don't remember if it felt good or not, and I was hoping it was.
No, it sucks, dude. It sucks shit.
Damn.
It's terrible.
Okay.
And like, you know what my favorite part of this is? You know what I discovered replaying Revengeance a little while ago? I discovered that using the analog stick to cut in that game also sucks compared to just aiming the whole camera with the left stick to overlap it. Because you know when you get into Zandatsu, there's a line that starts it off?
Yeah.
Instead of aligning it with the right analog stick, just use the left analog stick to line
tilt the
up
camera
with the box. It's super fast. It's way better.
Oh, just move the camera instead? Yeah, okay.
And then you get fucked because you've been doing that the whole game, and then you get to Armstrong where it demands that you use the right analog stick, and you get blown up all the time.
Yeah, I don't remember at this point, unfortunately. But I do remember, like, you know, the / Zandatsu shit being very fun to do, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
It was enjoyable. Man. And then there was also like making it non-lethal by flipping it from red to blue.
So if you want to be an insane person and go for your extreme big boss ranking like a psycho.
And you still slash, but you're hitting them with the back of the blade, right? Or whatever.
Yeah, I'm knocking out these Arsenal Tengus, man.
But we don't want you to not have fun by swinging the sword around. And it was such a big, like, it's like, oh, at the end of the game, you get access to the sword.
I think,
damn it.
So I said this at the end of Metal Gear Solid 1, and I'm now going to say it at the end of Metal Gear Solid 2. And I remember us having conversations about this that lasted for hours. By the end of Metal Gear Solid 2, once again, every single thing that comes out of Ocelot's mouth is either a lie or not true. Like 100% fail rate on truth telling. Literally every single thing. Some of the things that he believes is then later explained to be wrong. Like, not even like he wasn't lying, he was just wrong.
Well, hold on. There was one truth. His name is Adam.
I'm talking at the end of Metal Gear Solid 2.
Okay.
By the end of Metal Gear Solid 2, we are now at a 100% fail rate for Ocelot telling the truth. And I am reminded, everyone had a fun time with this when the last time you ever talked to Liquid, when he talks to you on top of Ray at the end of MGS2, and he says this, that's why he chose Ocelot as his host. For the arm.
Yeah, that horse shit.
You're like,
which
what
for
the fuck? You were a corpse in the dirt, Liquid. You're fucking crazy.
I just remembered, I think the reason why I was so invested in the sword being good too is because in VR missions you could control ninja.
Yeah.
But the sword was super unsatisfying there too. You couldn't do much. It was just a modified version of the snake combo. You know, the punch kick, but it was like it was very, very slight, and it didn't feel like you were fucking swinging a sword around. So when that's like
I have there's a fantastic statement that's in the chat right now, which is someone saying it's never explained why Liquid's voice comes out of Ocelot. Actually, it is, but it's different on what region you're playing the game, because so many people in my chat did not know. They're like, hey, how come it's a robot arm later, but it looks like a real arm now? Because it is a real arm in MGS2, and he is being possessed by a ghost, but he removes that arm and fakes it later. He's faking it later. And that's why in English, in MGS2, it changes to Liquid's voice, but
Stop.
in MGS4,
No. Stop. No. No, the retcon in 4 erased it so that in 2 we found out he was faking it. Fuck you, he was really possessed. Fuck you, man. No.
It was real in 2. You're wrong.
No way.
He removed Liquid's arm and replaced it with a synthetic one, and then hypnotized himself to think he was still being possessed to fool the Patriots.
I can't. I refuse. No. 4 told us that 2 was bullshit.
No, 4 tells you that he switched to a synthetic arm later and hypnotized himself.
His sister was a witch, Doug. Get it together.
Yeah. You know my favorite part about that video is? They're both holding knives. Have you noticed that they're both holding
they are. They are
during the argument?
She came down in a bubble, Doug.
Like they were ready to get into a fucking knife fight over that shit.
Oh, fuck me. No way, no how. I can't be litigating Kajumbo in 2025. Oh, shit.
So stupid. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. I love Metal Gear. I love Metal Gear so much.
There's nothing like it. There really isn't.
There's nothing
like it.
Let's go back to Tekken for a second, because I have like a genuine question as to whether or not we're hypocrites.
The answer is yes, but go on.
Yeah. Negan, Walking Dead man in Tekken, boo, lame. Daryl from Walking Dead man in Death Stranding, ooh, thumbs up, thumbs up.
Hold on a minute now.
Norman Reedus from Ride with Norman Reedus in Death Stranding, ooh, good.
Okay, I see.
Monster in
Norman Reedus then, as a whole, being existing and being a part of a PT. Boo, bad. So
I just wanted to say it. I just wanted to say it. I just want to bring it up.
Okay, that's fine. Well, look, if Jeffrey Dean Morgan shows up anywhere in any project whatsoever,
I really like
hypocrite.
Yeah.
Boo. That actor is not allowed to be a part of any game project ever.
No. I also did a sponsored stream for a game called Smite 2.
I've heard of
which
this.
Came out. Mm-hmm. Are you familiar with Smite 1?
I have seen and have heard of the Smite.
So Smite, for anybody who doesn't know, it was that other MOBA. You know how there's Dota and League of Legends, and then later there was Hero of the Storm?
There's always room for 3.
Well, in fact, there was actually room for 4. Just enough.
Mm-hmm.
And Smite had like, I looked up I was so curious after I did the stream, like, what's the Smite numbers? Like, what's Smite like doing?
It's minimum popping because every single game show has a big Smite booth that has a lot of people at it.
So what Smite is doing is it is doing consistent, loyal, reasonable numbers, unlike League and Dota and all that shit, which was just like, big old explosion shit, right? And I was like, but why? Right? Like, what is the big difference? Because I had not played it prior to being sent a contract and an offer to do a sponsored stream. And now I know the reason why. One, it's pretty solid. Like, it's a fairly solid, good MOBA that has all the things that you would want from MOBA. But the number one thing it has is the ability to play it with one of these, which I'm holding up a PlayStation controller. Smite is the MOBA if you want to play a MOBA on console.
Are none of the others?
Zero.
They never even bothered.
No, never.
Huh.
It's the only one.
Huh. Interesting.
And how does that work? How it works is that instead of being a top-down RTS, it's a behind-the-back third-person game.
Yes. The fact that it's third-person, I do recall, because this is the one where I realize I'm like, every time I see it, it looks like the character banner wallpapers that make me go, oh, is that a League character? And it's like, no, it could be a Smite character. But when we get to actual gameplay, it's like World of Warcraft.
Yeah, so I'm going to correct myself. People are saying, what about Pokemon Unite? You know what? I completely forgot about that. So instead I'll say Smite is the MOBA you can play on all consoles.
Wow, we're just
and personal computer that don't say Nintendo on it.
We're just going to shit on Guilty Gear Overture.
We are going to shit on Guilty Gear Overture until Daisuke apologizes, but he won't because that's his dream game.
He will never apologize.
He will never apologize because that's the one he wanted to make.
You apologize for not buying it.
So I hop into the Smite 2, and so I have now tried all of your major MOBAs to some degree. So I have put, I've gotten an ankle in on all of them. And the first thing that I notice is that Smite 2 is not a complexity nightmare like Dota is and League is, and even in its it just went into open beta. It's like it has usable menus.
I mean,
understandable.
The screenshots I'm looking at feel like otherwise.
Hold on,
but
wait for me.
Yeah.
Wait for me.
Yeah.
So it loads you in, and it goes, "Hey, listen. Here's a tutorial," and it has a real tutorial, and that's nice. And then it goes, okay, here's what we're gonna do. When you start, options are going to be as such: auto level and auto buy are just going to be on. So
no shopping.
Not when you start.
Okay.
So when you start your very first game, it's going to go, okay, we're going to level up your character for you, and we're going to tell you what your character's good at, like in its base state and recommended like leveling path. And also when you start, it's going to give you a bunch of choices, and it's going to go, do you want to be a basic attack auto attack build? Do you want to be an ability build? Do you want to be a tank? And it's different for each character. And you click on one, and it goes, okay, when you come back to the store, it'll auto buy things in the correct order for your game. And so the very, very first game that you play, you have to just worry about playing it, and like playing it, and not fighting its menu.
And does this become a feature where you can continue doing that until you hit a difficulty wall where the skill requires you to now
pretty much
learn how to do that properly and shop?
Smite 2 is not there yet, and people are asking for like, can I put my own builds in there to choose? Like, but it has a bunch of starter ones, and they're fine. Now, if you're a really good Smite player, like I see somebody in the chat saying that the auto build thing sucks, you're probably right. However, and this is the important thing, the auto build can't be worse than what I would put together on my fucking first 100 games, not knowing the system fucking at all. There's absolutely no way.
And is it
and
like...
they also...
Go ahead.
No, after you.
And the net decking aspect is like, because in Deadlock it's like pretty simple to pick the character, go to the shop, and then be like, here's the most upvoted current thing, net deck.
Yeah, here
shopping.
When you have that shit on, it's just like, it's literally like part of like the console style interface. It's like, hey, what kind of build would you like to try out? Okay. And it's like it's very easy. On top of that, they try and push you for your early games into a mode called Arena, which is no lanes. It's a big fucking team fight the whole time.
Wow.
It is just a 5v5 fucking brawl.
Okay. No creep.
And it's like, okay, so I don't really have to worry about laning. I can just fucking get in there and fight and learn how characters play.
No creep?
No, it's an arena.
Just fight against the other team. There's no other.
It is a 5v5 fucking fight.
No E to fight. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. Cool.
And then I also tried one called Joust, which is a single lane with 3v3, which I use to like practice. And then there's also Duel, which is 1v1 lane, and it's 1v1. And I fought somebody who absolutely knew what they were doing, and then on my second duel I fought somebody who absolutely did not know what they were doing, and those matches went exactly as you would expect. And it felt really nice to have like a ramp to actually start playing the game, because Dota has like its help a player learn thing in tutorials. Dota's ramp is a sheer cliff up that goes like backwards at some points in complexity. It's like infinite. It's so ridiculous. And League is not quite as ridiculous, but like I remember when I did streams for League, I was like, I don't know what to buy in the shop, and the advice I actually unironically got was, well, before you start playing, you're supposed to learn what every item in the shop does.
I remember this insane tip.
To which I said, I don't even do that for fighting games. Why the fuck would I do it for the shop in a fucking MOBA?
Also,
right.
you work in the user voted versions of it, and then there's like just infinite variability there.
Yeah.
I'm looking at some of it here, and I'm also being reminded of like while playing a couple rounds of Deadlock did make a lot of sense to what the screen's elements are with the genre, and I can see like, okay, here's where the team is at, where's the other team, and I can piece together most of what I'm looking at here. I'm reminded that initial look at the mini map when you're unfamiliar and everything's going is terrifying.
just the Deadlock is crazy. Deadlock is probably the hardest one now. Like Seijan put out a video a couple months ago called "Teaching New People to Play Deadlock is Rough," because the way that you would learn how to play that game is the opposite of how anyone would learn how to play a game, because just getting in there and playing ends up you getting stomped out and losing your team the game and just being the most actively miserable experience possible. But Deadlock is asking you to do
homework
all
first,
the MOBA stuff, and then it's also asking you to do all the shooter stuff also on top of that. And the mental stack is like absolutely crazy. Meanwhile, over on Smite, man, that mental stack is nice and low on a lot of that. Like one of the things, it's like, since you're maybe unfamiliar. So, hey, let's talk about creeps, right? I'm not sure if they've updated this since, but you know when you're jungling, are you familiar with your jungling?
I guess now I am. And my frame of reference is Deadlock, because I think that's the one I've put the most games on.
All right, so let's imagine you're playing live from a League of Legends' Arcane. The punch lady with the pink hair, right? Her job in League of Legends is not to go down the lanes. Yeah, Vi.
I thought you said lie. Go ahead.
No, Vi. Yeah. Vi from the League of Legends. Your job is not to go down the lanes, but to run around in the jungle and kill mobs to get really strong, so you can, snipe out or push in various opportune places, right? So, well, how do you know when the mobs repop? How do you know when they're back? Well, the answer is that you run a mental timer in your head. Oh,
fuck. Oh, shit.
After you kill them.
Okay, it's not an icon on the map that'll pop up.
No, fuck that. No, learn it. And then, they have timers now? Great. Fantastic. Because one of the things that showed up when I was playing Smite 2 was that I killed a bunch of mobs, and then I got to see a little timer start going around on the spot that would tell me when the fucking mobs would come back. Thank you. Because when I was playing League of Legends, I was using a fucking overlay to show me those timers.
Okay. So I don't... I'd have to pull up a screenshot of Deadlock to compare the minimap in that to this one, but I'm looking...
Oh, it's a fucking nightmare.
But the Smite one is essentially, it looks like a game of, like, Chinese checkers or so, but there's just... Well, yeah, all the different colors and, things at play are happening, and it's... I'm sure not that bad once you, learn it and stuff. And again, but that initial kind of was like, whoa, what is that thing over there? That there's so much information to parse from that. And again, as someone who is like excited about fighting games and talks to people about, here's how you can ignore this stuff, you can't, and this is stuff you should just go have fun with or whatever. In these games outside of Deadlock, if you just pick a character, start going down your lane and try to do your job and keeping it simple with the auto shop and stuff.
You will lose to even the most beginnerist beginner.
Okay. But losing or winning aside, are you, grasping it? Are you picking it up? Because forgetting about winning or losing, are you, just absolutely tanking your team? Or are you just kind of, treading water and getting pulled under, It
is a really complicated situation because the general, like I would like to play League of Legends or Smite too. I'm gonna start playing it. Usually like leads to like just miserable outcomes. Just at like okay, you know how when you play games you don't have to win to have fun.
Yeah.
But you do have to feel like you're playing it.
Yes. So playing Rivals now and like basically being parts of games where I'm like, all right, we did not win, but did I do my job? Are my numbers good? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I contributed. I'm not the best at these things, but I held my ground. And that's kind of what I'm wondering about in these cases. Yeah, with these, like, can you get that feeling here, or are you just the weakest link and we're losing until you go do the homework?
I would say that the goal is actually, hey man, for like a while, and I mean like a while, play human teams versus AI.
Right.
Like a while. Right? Like the basic level learning curve is so high that, like, yes, you actually do need baby games against robots for a bunch.
Are these
before you should get in there, because going against even think about like when you're like, hey, let's get into fighting games, and you pick any fighting game that you have familiarity with, but some people in the chat don't have familiarity with, and you can just make it so that they don't get to fucking play at all.
Yeah. Does our matches 45 minutes here as well?
No, they're not.
Okay.
They're 15 to 30.
Way good. That's a lot better for that, to go hand in hand with that.
20 minutes.
And once you graduate from bots, then you go into casual matches where you don't go ranked fully, but you still get the feeling of fighting human opponents and, stuff here. Low stakes is also fine, right? Like, anyone who gets super mad and rages out in a casual match is kind of just they're
going to rage out over anything.
Crazy person. Like, if you're going GG tank diff in a casual match, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? It's casual. It's like, but yeah, okay.
I think playing quick match and Rivals has shown me like just how toxic people can be over matches that don't matter. It's so fucking funny.
It's crazy.
It's so fucking funny.
It's so nuts to be like that, like to go absolutely ham on like quick play.
It's the funniest shit ever. I love it.
It's like you look at the other team and they're like 6 DPS. What are you talking about? This isn't real. This is, a glorified training mode.
Say,
like,
and I don't know if you're getting that in Rivals, but I have found that in all of your team games, you never have to worry about the opponents being mean. It's always the call is always coming from inside the house. It's always your other team members.
Oh well, team chat. Our team chat
is the real fight.
Oh yeah, the blue text. The blue. Yeah. Never mind the brown. It's all about the blue text scrolling by. But I will say, rare. But I've had the opposite of toxic. I've had whatever flower blue. I don't know what the word would be, but
nice interaction with human.
Nice interaction, but like someone who rallied the team and was like, okay, was like we went down one round and was like, okay, here guys, I think we can do this and that and stuff, and like not in a really shitty way, and was like, hey, your DPS isn't working. Join me on the tank, brother. All right, let's do it this way. Good stuff. And the positivity actually turned the second game around, and it was like good adjust, and everyone was like, oh shit, that advice really worked. It's like, all right, we can do this, guys. Let's go third round.
I love. There's a version of that person that starts. They don't respond to the situation that way. They start that way. And I've seen that person in Guild Wars and WoW and FF14, where you're multi and Battlefield, where the very large scale PvP, and it is just the funniest thing in the world to me, to people who start up their multiplayer game and go, okay, I'm going to play the worst real-time strategy game known to man, where I just yell at my units and my units don't do what I tell them to do. And I just get mad for an hour because the units won't do what I tell them to do. It's so fucking funny.
It's still PvE to me, damn it. Yeah. There's just, God, fuck. This positive chat type of thing that, you know, it's rare, but it is cool when it happens. And, you know, at the end of the game, like, you know, it's like even in those cases, you kind of have the like, okay, well, you lost and it didn't work out, but it was close. And so no one's kind of like getting too upset by that. They're like, ah, shit. Okay, well, good game, whatever. And then you see the upvotes in the loss screen. And you're like, okay, most of the team, except for the person who queued up right away, was pretty okay with how that went, you know? So
I think
it's not a lost cause.
I think I've played enough multiplayer games that are 5 and up and all that shit that I feel like I can distill like my single largest complaint with every team I have ever played with into one sentence, which is, oh my God, just push. Like it is the single most, like I want to say it's like 70-80% of all of my complaints is it's right there. Just go and just go. Just press W or on the just go. Just stand on the point.
I'm gonna guess that you're not hitting the chat at all at any point, but you're gonna mash that ping button.
No,
you're not going. Get on the point. Get on the point. Get on the point.
Everyone, no, absolutely
or group up.
Everyone can be. You just listen. Invisible Woman just threw down her ult on the point, and 2 of the other team are dead. Wait, you're gonna stand back behind the car? Oh.
I will say too, like, learning, the game also means learning when the push is like where the limit is going to be when you think the game is going to go longer than it is because you misunderstand that you just have to reach the point that they failed at. You know, if you're doing escort or so.
That's fun.
So the payload push, yeah. But that's a thing where like someone you die and then you watch the replay and then someone doesn't just jump on the overtime payload push because they think that there's still more time, but that's a misunderstood thing because it's like it's not about getting it to the end, it's about just getting it past this point or stopping it, you know? That's a learning curve thing as well.
Oh, you know what? I have my second big complaint, which is, hey man, we are all dead. Hey, you respawned first. You respawned 20 seconds before the rest of the team.
Please, yeah. Chill.
How about you just wait a second before you just completely offer
yourself
onto the altar of a 6-man team?
Hey, Mantis, chill. Mantis, chill. Right? And the Doctor Strange types in chat. I'm making a portal. And then Punisher's like, yeah, that's cool. Bye. And you're like, dude, please. He's literally, we're just Yeah. Nah. It's, you know, it takes time. It takes time. But all this to say that if you can be a team hero, you're gonna make the general game experience better for everybody. If you're stuck out there in fucking solo queue.
So are you familiar with Elo Hell?
Yeah, I think I get what that is just from us talking about that shit over the years. And
Elo Hell is like so for real in Rivals right now.
You just ping pong
the rank decay they put in on the 0 season to first season. Oh,
up and down. The strongest I've ever felt it was in Rising Thunder's beta, where it was the most transparent that it would just grab somebody from the top of the skill chart leaderboards and then someone from beneath you and just 50% one to the other every time. So every second match you would dominate and every third match would be the real one, you know?
I think there's a really interesting thing that when I mention Elo Hell, I see chat go 50-50 on whether or not Elo Hell is real as fuck or fake as shit and that it's total Johns. And I think the core difference here is, hey, are you solo queuing in your multiplayer game or are you playing with like at least a couple people with you? Because Elo Hell is for solo queue.
if you're teaming up with people, you're getting other people with the same types of team ups. So that's going to be much more. There's a wider range of randomness to the 3-person queue and then the 2 stack and then the solo, versus being solo all the time for sure.
So I was like, just after that first season came out, I was on the Marvel subreddit, and I was like, I saw some threads posting about Elo Hell and how bad it is, and then you go in and you're like, this person got SVP 15 games in a row on losses. And it's like, okay, maybe this person is definitely trapped in Elo Hell because that is crazy. That is bananas.
Oh, no.
Like,
that's fucking psychotic. Ouch. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, no. It is an interesting. So, but all in all, Smite, with controller, you're not losing functionality.
So I asked around. I went to the Smite 2 subreddit and typed in controller, and what you get is a bunch of incredibly unhelpful answers when you do that, because what you see is people going, well, everyone on Grandmaster rank plays with the mouse and keyboard. I'm like, I'm starting the game today. Please help. So instead, what you do is you put that question out to the general populace, and the answer is most people play Smite on console. So the discussion's kind of moot. And of note that I really forgot about this genuinely when I was doing the sponsored stream. I'm like, Smite 2, why is that? Oh, right, Smite, because it's the smaller MOBA, is where you can go to get crossovers that you would not expect on games like Fortnite or League. That's where the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles showed up as characters, and the cast of Avatar. And if you wanted to play Iron Mouse in a video game,
okay,
Iron Mouse is a character in goddamn Smite.
Any Ava, Ray, and Asuka
not
showing up? No, that's just PUBG. Okay.
I believe that is just PUBG.
Oh,
which is like the and
Stranger Things. Oh my God. Okay, got it. It's free to play.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Now it is. That the sponsored segment was to coincide with them going into open beta, and they're in a weird situation because Smite 2 is like it's like a direct upgrade. Like, it's an Unreal Engine 5 game, and there's also a bunch of mechanical changes, but it's like a full port over. But Smite 1 has like 130 characters that are not all in Smite 2.
That's a lot.
So they have promised that they're going to do this thing where they basically just do a character a week for as long as they can.
Oh my God. Okay.
To catch up. Because that happened with Dota. Like, when Dota 2 came to Steam, it was not the Dota 2 that you'd play. It was not Dota in that it didn't have all the characters. They did eventually catch up, but it took a while.
And I guess that also means there will be nothing resembling a new character for a very long time.
I believe they've actually already put some new characters in there.
To start with.
So, like, they're not saying they're going to port a new character every week. They say there will be a new character playable every week.
Okay, so it'll just alternate, I guess.
Like Aladdin, who's on the front page right now, is new.
Okay. Cool. All right. Let's take a quick break.
All right.
Be right back. All right, let's take a quick word from our sponsors.
I love our sponsors.
This week, the podcast is sponsored by ExpressVPN.
Wow, what a great time for ExpressVPN, man.
Yeah. So, how did you choose which internet service provider to use? The sad thing is most of us have very little choice because ISPs operate like monopolies in the regions they serve. And they use this monopoly power to take advantage of customers, data caps, bandwidth throttling, and the list goes on. Yeah, actually, I'm thinking of the time where I used to use a different ISP back in the day where they were like unlimited, whatever they advertised, and then what it really...
Asterix.
And it's like, it's unlimited, but when you go over the amount we don't like, you get dropped into the fucking hamster wheel server.
I know exactly what ISP you're talking about because I also used to use them.
Yeah, and you just watch as overnight your internet drops off a cliff and becomes dial-up. And you're like, what the fuck is this? And it's like, oh.
And you call them and they're like, well, you're still able to check your email, right? And you're like, how about you?
So, yeah, it's functionally limited. We just pretend, we just lie and say that, no, you're fine. Terrible, garbage. Anyways, so that sucks. And on top of that, they're, keeping logs of everything you're doing. They're keeping a full profile on you that they can sell to third parties. And
I don't like that.
Unless you use ExpressVPN. Because your info is valuable. And it's not just the 12-year-old on the McDonald's Wi-Fi that's able to steal your shit. It's also literally the internet service provider that might be a scumbag company that's no other... that you have no other choice but to use given the region where you live. So, ExpressVPN is very simple to use. It is a rerouter of 100% of your traffic through a secure encrypted server. So third parties can't just grab that browsing history. It works on all of your devices. It's very easy to set up and it'll work with a single click of a button. Fire up the app, and it makes it extremely difficult for third parties to track your online activity. Whether it's your phone, laptop, tablet, or more, you can stay private on the go, and it's ranked number 1 by top tech reviewers like CNET and The Verge. So, nice to be able to, not be restricted by the region I'm in to watch what I want to watch or, get access to the game that I have already pre-ordered.
I mean, hey, like... Did you want to play Marvel Snap over the weekend? Too bad, depending where you live. Unless you had ExpressVPN.
Depending on where you lived. So, you can protect your online privacy today by visiting expressvpn.com/superbeast. That's expressvpn.com/superbeast. And you can get an extra 4 months free. expressvpn.com/superbeast. Thanks, ExpressVPN.
Thanks, ExpressVPN. I love you.
This week, the podcast is sponsored by Factor. And that is your nutrition and the importance of eating well. Not lost on any of us. But it's hard. It's really, really hard.
Yeah, we can't just be like this dog over here that just steals the baby's food and doesn't care about his calories. Like, we're adults and we have to know what we're doing.
Also, we're really, really lazy.
Hey, listen.
What can you do for me?
Can you put it in the oven for me?
No, but we can get you almost right there. Excuse me. Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well easy. They're dietitian approved, ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes, so you can fuel up and feel great no matter what life throws at you. So yeah, it's nice to be able to eat food that tastes good, but also when it's healthy and when it's doing right by your goals, then you don't have to feel bad about it. And if
I propose a standard for food, which is when your dog somehow gets up on your table and steals your food, you should be devastated.
That's a
devastating.
critical hit. Yeah, that
like
sucks.
have you ever lost, dropped, or had food stolen, and you're like, I don't even care. That's never gonna happen with Factor. You'll be sad
because you really wanted to eat it. So there you go. Don't if that. Okay, look. Sometimes you're gonna lose food to the dog. All right, it'll happen.
Sometimes your wife's just gonna steal food right off your plate.
That too. But hey, if you have 40 options and 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week to choose from, maybe you can pick the thing that you really love that they hate. Maybe it's like hot sauce on the pizza slice, where it's like, I love this, but nobody else wants it. More for me, no stealing.
That's the trade. The problem that you did with that is that like you actually got tons of people into like chicken and pineapple pizza.
Yeah, well, because
like that backfired on you really bad.
Well, I'm sorry for taste, However, look, if you're trying to figure it out, and different options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or Keto, which you can do it the lazy way, but if you do it the lazy way, you're gonna be like, yeah, I'm sort of doing keto. Don't do that. If you're gonna bother and you're gonna do it right. So do it the way that the dietitian approved meals can actually make sure you're properly doing your keto stuff. A lot of people can say for years, yeah, I've been doing keto, and it just means you've been like throwing out burger buns while eating burgers. Come on, right? Do it better. So. Factor can help you feel your best all day long with wholesome smoothies, breakfasts, grab-to-go snacks, and more add-ons as well. So, yeah, you can get more than just your regular meals and reach your goals this year with convenience that can't be beat. Eat smart with Factor. Get started on factormeals.com/Castle50off.
50 off, Castle 50 off,
and use code Castle50off to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping.
That's really clear as to why the code is named that way.
So once again, that's code Castle50off at factormeals.com/Castle50off, and you're going to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Thank you very much, Factor.
Thanks, Factor.
And last but not least, this week the podcast is sponsored by Turtle Beach. And when I was setting up my studio, I got myself a pair of Turtle Beach headphones because they've always been pretty comfortable and good to go as a pair of reliable headphones back in the day. For a while now. Always been a fan of that. In particular, however, you got the new Stealth 700 headphones that are super comfortable. They have an insane 80-hour battery life and a quick charge function.
Hours.
Yeah. So you barely even have to think about the charging aspect of it. The cushions on the side as well for an over-the-ear headset are very, very soft, and they have that good I can rest pillow-like almost when they're on my head, which I like personally. I'm a fan of that, and in terms of just the features, the crossplay, of course, industry's first ever crossplay dual wireless transmitter system available in the Stealth 700 headphones means that you can connect seamlessly to multiple devices, and with just a click of a button, you can switch between the two, nice and easy, no fuss, no muss. But even better than that, and much to my surprise, was the dual aspect of the crossplay connection system, so that you can connect to your phone and listen to music, take a call, listen to a podcast, whatever's going on your phone, while still connected to your PC or to console or game device, and hear the game at the same time. And both.
Wait, really? Oh, that's awesome.
And both are balanced off each other, so you can literally hear both clearly, and it automatically knows to do that. It was super useful. Yes.
Why haven't headphones done that before? That's awesome.
It's kind of it's the best feature, and every time I'm talking about the Stealth 700s, I'm going to bring that up because it was so good to be able to just I listen to shit on my headphones all the time, and I have one ear off to kind of hear the TV sometimes.
Well, I've done this thing where I'm like, I got Discord coming on my phone speaker so that but one ear on my headphones that I can listen to Discord and
exactly. The one ear off days are over. It's super duper nuts and handy to just have the ability to connect it to both right off the bat and hear them both fed in crystal clear. So incredible feature. Immediately I was like, yeah, banger. Say less. So yeah, check them out. You want to go get your Stealth 700s from Turtle Beach. Sorry, I just lost where I was getting to. Yeah, you can. So there you go. Anyway, so New Year, you can spend that Christmas money you got on something you actually love. Head to turtlebeach.com and use code CASTLE for 10% off your entire order. That's 10% off your order at turtlebeach.com with the promo code CASTLE. You holding it together?
I totally misunderstood what you meant when you said that. When you said use that Christmas money on something you love, my brain was like, yeah, don't use it on your wife or children. Buy yourself something nice.
Take the money out of your wallet, put it in your own pocket, tap yourself on the cheek, and say, buy yourself something nice. You did good, kid.
Thanks, me.
Yeah, once again, head to turtlebeach.com and use the code CASTLE for 10% off your entire order. That's 10% off your order at turtlebeach.com with the promo code CASTLE. Thank you, Turtle Beach.
Thanks, Turtle Beach.
All right, into what's going on. Oh my God, the Switch 2. Yeah, okay. There it is.
I forgot that was this week. Because it was like, hey, dipshits, fuck off. Shut up.
The most okay announcement in video game history. A Nintendo console at that, to fanfare.
Like Saitama MS Paint, okay.
It feels, here's the crazy part, coming from a time where in my living memory I recall the Nintendo console announcements being the biggest, most important subject at the time. Yes. This announcement feels like a new SKU of an existing console. It feels like
you know what it fucking feels like? Mm-hmm. Like it feels like, yeah, we know we're gonna make fucking shit zillion dollars. We're not even changing the fucking name.
Yeah, well, I don't like Switch 2. Sure, it's that Wii U thing of like the capital that we've built with Wii exists in the mind share space. So we're gonna just continue while people continue to think about the word Switch. That being said, the energy of this, of course, extra deflated because, hey, guess what? What are the details? It's 31% bigger. We already knew that. It's got Hall effect joysticks. We already knew that. There's a USB-C and a headphone slot. Yeah, we knew. 4K, 30 FPS. Cool.
It's the leakiest console thing that's ever been ever.
Saw the shape of it, saw the motherboard, saw every aspect of it. Yeah. I think the only detail that the trailer revealed was the part where the Joy-Cons can now be used as a mouse.
Yeah, and they're magnetically clipped now.
Yes, so that they don't that's not going to wear down over time.
I saw a gentleman talking about that where repair technicians get to find out about stress points on pieces of hardware.
Mm-hmm. I saw
Switch
that.
Has the stress point.
Yep.
And the stress point is the locking mechanism for the Joy-Con causes kids to just snaps it
right off. You feel it. You feel it as you hold it like it's wiggling. Yes.
I could do it. You could do it.
So
like a grown adult and maybe a teenager could do it.
A simple fall from chest height to the ground could do it. So this is an improvement on that for sure. Mm-hmm.
So now that we've had all this shit leak out, in the lead up to April, when it's going to release in May or June, right? End of May, beginning of June, I foresee in March we're going to start to see what games are going to be launch titles for this game. Not officially, fuck no, but every single, like, we saw the motherboard, for fuck's sake.
I think the mouse aspect is it allows more porting of Steam games that would want to show up without as much trouble, right? So you pitch this, and now Darkest Dungeon comes over without any of the HUD changes that they had to make.
I mean,
for the first one.
Depending on how this works, the Joy-Con may become like the ultimate Steam controller as a gamepad that is also a mouse simultaneously.
It is nice that the Steam Deck has the mouse like pad thumb area while also having the D-pad and your stick options, so there's a plethora plus touch as well. But no, it just, in this case, it's just like, hey, a lot of games that would be perfect for Switch, but just these are mouse games, and it using a mouse on the stick doesn't feel great depending on the game a lot of the time. So it's a nice solution there. The fact that it's bigger as well feels directly influenced by the Steam Deck. It's like, people are down for a bigger console and are down to have room for both headphones and USB-C, not this one or the other shit,
I think my own personal excitement is very low, but because to me, I look at this as the ability to play the dozen of Switch games that I bought, played for 10 minutes, and went, oh my fucking God, I'll wait, Jesus.
Well, slow your roll there, cowboy, because we need to confirm which Switch games are going to be playable.
It's going to be all of them except for Labo and the weird gimmick bullshit.
It says some. It says select. So we'll see. It might not be all. It might end up being one of those cases like, PS Classics or the Xbox Originals, where it was like the ones you want.
It's going to be everything except for everything weird.
But it's not the days of, hey, take that GBA game and stick it into your DS and it plays,
Actually, it is like that. The only difference is that stuff like WarioWare Twisted, which did technically work on the DS, will not work here because of the cardboard nonsense and the fucking box nonsense. Like like it is exactly that.
Well, anything digital that is not. Well, it says some. So
there will be fringe cases that have peripheral requirements that don't work. But like it has a cartridge slot for Switch cartridges.
I'm hoping that we don't end up with if it's just fringe things and stuff with specific bits, then sure. I'm hoping we don't end up with like obvious things where they're just kind of like, nah, we're just not porting this, or we're gonna resell it, or it's gonna be like a weird eShop type situation. But
yeah, you know what? I would like to play the Xenoblade games at a human appreciable frame rate.
That'd be nice. It would be nice to not have sticks drift by just using them with any regular, frequency. And I guess, I don't know if do we know anything about the docking and whether or not it'll
have a dock?
But like, will there be performance differences between docked and undocked? Or
we don't know that, but considering it's the exact same device as the last one, but better, it's probably going to be the same.
It might.
You know what I would really like? I would like the console to have a 1080p resolution on handheld mode, and then also have a 1080p resolution on the dock mode, so that they don't perform differently. Like the resolution bump on docked mode that would make the dock mode perform way worse in some cases.
Lock it.
That was the worst.
Don't have it change at all if you don't want it to. Let it stick around. Let it stay in consistent for both. Yeah, that'd be cool.
I would rather have an uglier game on my TV than one that run bad. That's what I say.
Further, I would say I would like the ability to grab a USB-C to HDMI and just without a dock, feed that into a TV.
No, Nintendo says you buy a dock.
Yeah,
Nintendo say
you must dock. Yes, it would be nice.
Nintendo says docking mandatory.
It would be wonderful if you didn't have to. But here we are. And of course, the difference between having it charge and not charge, or would be a part of that, plus extra USB slots. Like, there's benefits you get from the dock, but it would be nice because other devices can just go straight in and video out, So, and we'll see what they do with the, like, is replacing a Joy-Con ever going to be a possibility? Is that a thing, or...
No Pro controller in that announcement thing.
Nothing shown.
But they'll have one.
Yeah, I mean, safe to say it'll look exactly like it has been for the last 2 gens. And
bro, I gotta buy 3 Switch 2s. That's gonna be hard. Me, wife, nephew.
Oh. 4, including nephew's friend.
Including nephew's friend.
Yeah. So when this drops,
maybe he doesn't need one. He's too young for video game.
Mm-hmm. So
or you can just use mine to play Fortnite.
So when this drops, we'll see what comes out for it. Seems like there's a decent possibility that maybe one Silksong might show up on the Switch 2.
Bro, shut up.
Oh, man. So...
Did we even talk about that last week?
It didn't happen last week. It happened this week.
Oh, my God. What is happening to my memory?
I mean... So when I heard shit was going on with Silksong, and I was like, okay,
it was going down.
What's happening, right? And it's like the Silksong subreddit is in complete revolt.
Yeah, that is correct.
And basically, you're right. The first thing I see is a thread that's like, Team Cherry, we demand an answer. We demand a response. And it's this insane, like, Pepe Sylvia trace.
Do you want the really short version?
I think I have it, but by all means, summarize.
The really short version is that one of the developers changed their Twitter profile and made a bunch of really suspicious-looking tweets right before the Switch 2 got announced. So it really, really looked like Silksong 2 was... Sorry, Silksong. Yeah, Silksong 2. No, but Silksong was going to be announced to be a Switch game, and then nothing happened. And then people were like, can you just say
what the fuck? Yeah. It was because also... Team Cherry apparently did something ARG-ish in the past.
They have done ARG stuff in the past.
So when the dev changed his profile to a chocolate cake photo and then kind of just made some cryptic tweets that were not...
Real cryptic shit.
Right? That were not clear. People were like, oh, we're playing an ARG again. And so they started going along with it and going like, that's a very specific chocolate cake. That cake dates back to this release when it came out and when it first was invented. And so people are tying the numbers in and go down this whole fucking thread. And then eventually it gets to a point where they're like, okay, this is fucking stupid. This is nothing. What is happening? What do you can't play this game now that everyone's mad. Like, they've been upset. It's not the time for an ARPG. Excuse me, ARG rather. And so they eventually did get the community manager to go, hey, no, like, yeah, talking to the team now. We'll have something to say. And then the thing they had to say was, hey, we confirm that the game is still being worked on. It's real, it's progressing, and it will release.
And it's like... I was curious. I looked up, like, Silksong articles right before the podcast, and I found one from Game Rant talking about how Silksong is a victim of Hollow Knight's success.
Yeah.
And... it hasn't been in development that long. And I'm like, wait, what? And then I kept reading, and it was like all this cope shit, and the article was like 2.5 years fucking old.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm like, no, this is actually ridiculous. Like, I'm going to just go back to the same thing I say every time, okay? You go through these things, and people go totally crazy, and people start making like demands and being like super villains about this shit. And then they people always say Team Cherry owes us.
Yeah, people go completely insane and become unreasonable. Mm-hmm.
And then someone goes, they don't owe you shit. And then I come in to be a buzzkill and go, actually, they do. they do owe you shit
because of the Kickstarter.
Because Silksong is the last backer reward
because of the Kickstarter
for Hollow Knight. And like we just go in this circle of like if the Hornet campaign was not a backer reward, every single part of this discussion would be completely different. But people have already paid for that game and have been waiting for it since like what? When was the Hollow Knight Kickstarter?
And,
like 2011?
And I remember in the peak of when Goodwill was at its maximum, it was also announced. Well, back when this was going to be the third piece of DLC, wasn't there? I believe an announcement that it would be like, was it going to be free?
So what happened is that it was going to be the final piece of DLC.
It was a stretch goal.
Just wait. It's going to be big. We know it's taking a long time, but it's going to be larger than the other DLCs. Then that was like radio silence for like a year. And then they re-announced Silksong as a completely new game. And people went, wait, what? And they said, don't worry. If you backed it and we're going to get the Silksong DLC, then you people will get it for free because it's technically a backer reward.
That's what it was. If you were one of the backer reward stretch goal people, then you would have gotten it as part of your thing. Yes. So looking at that, that's one angle on it. My angle was just coming at a different perspective, which is like, I don't know what in God's green earth is happening behind the scenes. None of us can. And, it could be the most insane fucking tornado fire in the Team Cherry Studios, right?
List of reasons that are totally reasonable, and I think the most obvious one is that they switched from Unity to Godot when Unity went crazy.
When that was happening, that was a really
and they have to rebuild the whole fucking game.
That debacle sucked for a ton of indie.
But you could just say that. You could just say it with your mouth.
But here's the bit. Here's the bit, right? Let's say you don't. Let's say you just don't communicate. And that's best for you for whatever reasons that we don't know. Maybe just don't do the avatar change cryptic tweet thing when people are already on edge. Like, maybe the hint thing is not the best move when people are like, just say what it is or nothing, and they've been that way for a couple of years now. It's the wrong time to start the dance. The time for dancing is probably over.
Someone in the chat points out that was a personal account of the developer, not an official account. And that's true. Similarly to how interviews with George R.R. Martin that are not about books or movies do include bits and pieces of his life in which he describes not writing his book. That doesn't make there's this weird thing that this is kind of a macro topic in which people go, they're very straightforward and they're logicking a bunch of situations and they're going, well, this, that, this, and that's how it should be. And how things should be are not how things are. Right? You're like, well, you shouldn't be mad at all because Kickstarter's TOS doesn't state that they owe all backer rewards as is. And things can change, and so they don't actually owe you anything. And it's like, well, that is technically the letter of the law. Shut up. No one felt that way ever, and that will not stop people's emotions.
It's just before you click the send button on that post, you have to you have to know that there's a pot stirring that's occurring there. You have to know that this is going to be received. And you can, while you can't account for the way everyone will and let that govern everything, this is just the worst possible move when everyone is at their fucking limit with it, So I don't know. It was a wild inability to read the room on that decision there. Don't
understand why you're even mad because as we've discussed, it doesn't count if it's on the Gaycation. Why are you getting upset? It doesn't count. It doesn't count on the Gaycation. Wait, why are you mad? Why are you mad? This is so illogical. You have to submit to the Silksong development cycle lest you be destroyed.
I feel like if it were me, any post that was not just an attachment to silksong.zip is just a no-go. We're just not posting at all. There's nothing to be said here because the decision to not communicate is one thing, But yeah. Anyways, all right. So a lot of this is speculated that they're waiting for the Switch 2.
Hey, I'm trapped in my chair. I can't get my headphone cable out.
Are you okay? Should we send help?
Oh my God, we're gonna have to take a break. I've actually sat on my cable and broken it.
Pat has reached that color of red. We'll be right back.
God damn, I should get some fucking Turtle Beach headphones up in here.
Wires.
Don't get this cable nightmare.
Wires.
Jesus Christ.
The danger of wires can never be overstated.
I'm sorry, Willie. I missed some of that as I was fighting with my own ass and wheels.
That's okay. I was just remarking on the color of your face changing from the, Caucasian pink to
Caucasian plus. I saw a black guy on, I think it was on Twitter, just refer to a fucking picture of the Red Hulk and just go, I don't know, this just seems like a mad white person.
Shit. Damn.
He's not wrong.
Yeah.
He's not wrong.
Redbone. Oh, fuck. Yeah. Well, And he's got a gun!
Yeah, so people in the chat are saying, hey, remember No Man's Sky and what a disaster that was? And how then the people who made No Man's Sky just shut the fuck up and kept working until they fixed it?
Yes. Head down, etc.
And is it reasonable for us to sit here and go, hey, if you're making a highly anticipated thing that's a secret that people are excited for, that you should retreat to the woods and shut up until it's done? No, that's not realistic. But also, maybe I do want that deep down.
You don't have to do anything. You can also just cancel a game and walk away from it. But yeah, people's expectations and stuff are going to be what they are as time goes on. As administrations change and as decades peel off over the course of many moons.
Hollow Knight's the biggest Metroidvania I've ever played, and that took 2.5 years to develop. So therefore, Silksong is 6 years in. That means it must be at least twice as big as Hollow Knight.
What if this is just reverse game development and all the time that Hollow Knight should have taken is now being lagged on the back end? Monkey's paw. For the quality of the game that it is.
I don't know if this is true, but I saw some people saying it on the Silksong subreddit, so take it with a big grain of salt. But I did see some folks say that they suspect the reason why the game is taking so long is because the only reason Hollow Knight released when it did was because the team ran out of Kickstarter money and had to put it out.
I would need to see that sourced before fully. That's not impossible, but I would. That's an accusation that I would want to see sourced because that's fucking crazy. That's insane. That's so insane.
Big grain of salt.
Oh my god, huge grain of salt. Wow. Yeah. Well, anyway.
Do I have a source editor? I may be reading it off a guy who made it the fuck up. It's possible.
Yeah. Okay. But in writing, editors exist to kick your ass and get the thing out the door, right? So, Anyways, so yeah, we'll see what happens when the Switch 2 launches. Maybe that'll happen. Maybe that'll be part of it. Maybe not.
I'm so torn because, yeah, you know what? Launch title for the Switch 2 would actually be like very reasonable. However, it is also the copest shit like ever. Like, you might as well change your name to fucking Lola and go down to the Copacabana with this fucking Switch 2 launch party shit.
But I mean, the entire non-ARG into we demand a response like explosion is a bit of a like, it's that last bit of like energy that anyone would have left, and well, that's not true. I mean, the Reddit is going to be over there and people are going to be going nuts long after the game comes out, if ever. But I feel like if you're kind of just like putting it out of your mind and then you heard about this thing and going down, it just re-exhausts you. You're like, oh God, I wasn't thinking about that. Anyways.
So I think what we need to do. So I want to say one last thing because I made the joke about how it has to be twice as big as Hollow Knight. And what I said was a feeling that people have, but it's so stupid that you didn't bother to respond because it's obviously incorrect. And I think to something that somebody, when I was talking about this on my show a couple days ago, somebody in my chat said that time should not accumulate expectation, which sounds really wise, but I totally disagree 100%. I 100% disagree.
Well, it should, whether it should or shouldn't, it doesn't because, I mean, sorry, it does because we've seen this happen time and time again in the industry, and the things that are the most hated are the things that are announced way too ahead of their time. Like, it's just, there's nothing you can do about this, whether you claim it ought to not be that way.
But like,
it's the way it is.
I know food analogies are the danger, right? But if you come home and your wife's like, honey, I spent all day slaving in the kitchen over this, and then hands you like some bullshit, you're going to be like, oh, I was really excited.
Yeah, I think
time to start yelling. No.
Well, look, I think the most reasonable, like type of approach you can take on it is just like, the level of disappointment you feel should not enter the realm of one finger all caps Pepe Sylvia posting, right? Like, don't let anything hit that level for your own sake. But people just in general feeling like, God damn it, is extremely reasonable, normal, and given the circumstances. And I don't feel like it's not fair to tell anyone especially if anyone is on the people that have paid and are up there in that group of people that are owed something, to tell them to expect otherwise or to feel differently about it. And I'm saying this as the person who is mostly fine with delays every time I hear about them, and is in no hurry to be like, oh, God damn it, oh no, the thing got delayed a little bit. I'm like, yeah, take your time, it's cool. There's no shortage of games. We're all good.
I think what we need to do, and I'm going to start using this as the barometer, and it felt unfair before, but I don't care anymore. And I'm going to start talking about video game development according to the RGG system, which is Silksong was announced in 2019.
How many Yakuzas ago?
That means since the announcement of Silksong, we have received Yakuza Like a Dragon, Lost Judgment, Like a Dragon Ishin, Like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, and soon Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. And who knows how many more.
Was there an engine change in any of those?
Yes. There was.
Okay. It really sucks that the decision to just stay mostly silent has now eclipsed the discussion about Hollow Knight entirely, because all you know what? But I don't know. We're also so close to this, and you know what I mean? We're in the middle of the pit of people that are like really, really, really excited for Silksong. So I can't really. It's hard to say what it looks like outside of the bubble anymore. I don't.
You know what? I'm gonna
really
replay
know.
Hollow Knight on stream and be like, man, this game sucks, and then I'm gonna beat it. I'm gonna be like, damn it, I'm even more in a fucking funk now than ever because it actually rules. It rules so hard. Oh, hey, you want some pull from my ass speculation? They were working on Silksong.
Throw it on
and
the
they were
pile.
making it a certain way, and then they did the Gods and Bugs DLC, which they thought was awesome. And everyone's like, I don't want to do fucking boss fights against all this shit. I want to explore levels. And they were like, oh shit. Oh no, Silksong's mostly boss fights. Oh crap.
And then
they want Metroid part. Oh no.
Big if true. No, that's crazy. Actually, what it is because they've been writing for Elden Ring Night Rain. Team Cherry has been.
Yeah.
And they've completed the entire story of Elden Ring.
Crazy, dude. Hey, man, I gotta go. I gotta be right back. Sorry to take another break.
BRB. All right. Speaking of games never coming out.
Yeah, this could be a long section.
So, the initial story, PlayStation has canceled 2 more live service games, both subsidiaries from Bend and Bluepoint. Bloomberg has learned it. People have been wondering what Bluepoint has been working on for the last couple of years. It's a live service God of War game. So, that initially was then followed up with, let's see here if I can pull it all together. Radek on Twitter pointed out that PlayStation was planning to release at least 12 live service games. And when looking at the full list, it's possibly even more than that. Only 3 have been released so far. 1 was released and quickly shut down. 7 have been canceled, and another 7 are being waited on. So there is a full list here of games that Sony have been live service games that Sony have been investing in and that are canceled to be determined or just outright shut down, taken offline, etc. It's a lot, man. Destruction All-Stars, Gran Turismo 7, Helldivers 2, all released. Concord, shut down.
Anti-released.
Fair Games, Horizon Multiplayer, Marathon, Horizon MMO, all to be determined. Then Media Molecule live service game, Bungie and Jason Blundell's LA Studio game, all 3 unannounced. And then Last of Us Online, canceled. Twisted Metal, canceled. Spider-Man The Great Web, canceled. London Studio live service game, canceled. God of War live service game from Bluepoint, canceled. Bend Studio live service game, canceled.
All right, so the Horizon MMO is also dead.
Horizon MMO, sure. Throw that on the pile.
So I'm going to hold up my hand as somebody who's played nearly every single one of the games that these are parts of the series. God of War MMO live service thing, whoever said that as an idea should have been thrown out a window. That is was always going to be a disaster. Horizon MMO, similar. Like for no one. For no one.
Main character driven narrative series, and then Nosgoth?
No one.
Yeah, okay.
So I talked about this on the Beast Guy. I was skeeting about it quite often, and I feel like, and I there's only so much you can put into a single skeet, but I feel like Destiny has been so remember when World of Warcraft, we talked about this, Street Fighter and Call of Duty and World of Warcraft, and everybody chases after the big thing and makes their their game, let's chase the trend, let's chase the bubble, right? One
leader, one imitator, 1/3 weird one.
Yeah. And it's been this thing forever, right? And so WoW was the great fire that swept through the industry, where everyone's like, you know what? Let's blow hundreds of millions of dollars and 5 years of dev time on an MMO that will immediately die, instantly, just crash and burn. And I mentioned Copernicus earlier, but there was a ton of them. It was crazy how awful it was. And I feel like Destiny 2 has actually surpassed it in this week alone, because you would see people talking about how their gas game should emulate Destiny, and even the ones that didn't, Sony literally said that they wanted their gas games to emulate Destiny because they bought Destiny and then said, hey, Destiny devs, go to these other live service developers and you will be the people to tell them how to do live service and to give them the lessons they need to do live service. But Destiny has always been on the verge of falling to pieces. The reason why Activision allowed Destiny to buy themselves out was because it wasn't making any fucking money. And so we're looking at like Concord alone. But then there's like 9 other games that were all in like multiple years of dev. Like, wait, what's Bluepoint doing? The answer is now nothing. The Bluepoint has now done nothing for multiple years.
So the trend chase feels like something that, while it's always been part of the industry, every once in a while you'd ramp up and perhaps make a huge, expensive whoopsies, learn a lesson from that, and then heavily reconsider. Right? Go back to the drawing board on it and look at what other angles or what other releases are currently working, or at the very least are floating and are sustainable. Because of the way the industry has been shaking out, and I think because of that discussion from a couple months ago about, like, once again ripping people's attention away from the free-to-play, and then the idea of like a video game, a AAA just cannot be profitable, a quadruple A just almost cannot be profitable unless the circumstances are perfect, it's become such a dire situation, and the desperation of like Sony looking and going, no, we must chase this live service trend, we must chase this, we must take it over, is like, it feels as if you're originally playing a game of poker where like the odds can go one way or the other, and as times have gotten worse, and as it's become more clear that like if you're making a game that's just live service on its own, and like there's no baked in audience, there's no initial appeal for that, if you're just kind of throwing a fucking gamble out there, it's basically going from playing poker to playing the lottery. And I don't know why a loss like Concord wouldn't make you drastically reevaluate fucking everything.
What has happened. Like Concord is the thing of like, wait a second, we could actually spend 2, 3, 4 more years on all of these, and for all of them to end up like Concord, and we're talking billions in losses.
So 17 games on this list is what we're looking at here, and the realization that the Concord path was the tip of the iceberg. There was an entire thought process that like, no, this is going to work out. And yeah, God of War multiplayer, Horizon multiplayer, all those things, like, it's the fact that the lessons are, I guess it takes a Concord level loss to have this massive correction occur, and it takes years for these projects to all shape out and such. But I just didn't think that it was that bad. I didn't realize that they were this committed to it and made a decision to essentially spend everything, right? Everything major first party related on this gamble.
I think there's a second part to this, which is more of a design ethic, and it's so the people making these decisions often don't understand games, and that's fine. Everybody knows that you don't have to actually understand your product at all to manage it.
Just look at what else is making money and
right. But they don't even understand their product from an economic standpoint. And like, granted, I'm not an economist. I'm just like a dipshit that talks about video games on Tuesdays and does streams. But I do play a lot of video games, and I have played a lot of games as a service games, and that includes MMOs. And one of the things that anybody with a brain or touched an MMO at any point over the past like 10 years learned is that, it's actually really hard to play more than one gas game. It's really difficult because games as a service are designed to monopolize your time. Mm-hmm. And the way that their cosmetic or upgrade systems work for cashola is because you are spending all of your time with that one game, mm-hmm. which means in the games as a service audience, every new game as a service that you release is chasing after a smaller and smaller pie. And that can be fine depending on what you're putting out. But why were they going to release 17 games that were all going to compete with each other?
Are you saying that the people interested in playing a Horizon live service game might also be the same audience as the people that are going to spend their time on a God of War live service game?
They are the exact same person.
And that you're dividing that pie into nothing? the same and the same non-existent person, of course, that we're describing here. Like,
I like PlayStation games, says person. So what does that mean? I like God of War and Horizon and Ghost of Tsushima and Bloodborne and Gran Turismo. Okay, how many of those can I play a week while hitting all my dailies? Because I mentioned 5 games. Can you blow out dailies and weeklies for a full gas game in 1 day a week? No, you can't.
This is, I think, looking at, like, this might be the craziest all-in, like, push
it's the biggest
I've
all-in
ever seen in the history of video games. It's this is the craziest all-in push to the table I've seen.
Well, it's interesting because
like this will, like, so and you will see multiple live service games come and go popping up on a Steam-like platform, or such, as everyone independently is taking a stab at it and seeing if they can, you know, grab a little bit of market share for themselves and get something going or so. But for Sony first party specifically to be bankrolling this level of, like, incestuous market, it's insane. It's the most insane thing. That, like, these are all super expensive games.
They already own Destiny, and Warframe is already on the PlayStation. So, like, right away, you are competing against those 2 games that already exist, and you own one of them, right? It is so okay. Let's think back.
Sorry,
after you.
No, I was just gonna say the other reading, when you see what,
and Helldivers. Oh my god, I forgot.
Helldivers too. Yeah. When you see what looks like, this is such an insanely, bafflingly dumb level of commitment that you're like, the only other take here is, like, the situation is so much more dire than you think, that this was the right call for them to make at the time, or so they perceive.
The best time to stop is now. Sorry, the best time to stop
was
yesterday, and the second best time to stop is now.
Yes,
is clearly happening. I have a variation of that I love to say, and maybe it's lame that I think, but, like, there's the phrase, like, make sure to quit while you're ahead. I have been saying for a while, like, you can also quit while you are behind. Right? It's the variation of throwing good money after bad.
And I just say, just staple the Square sales report story to this one, you know, just
like, let's go back in time, right? Let's look at Fatal Fury and Street Fighter, which we know about. Hey, you know, those fighting games are hot. They're hot as fuck in the arcades.
They're making a pretty.
Can we make one of those?
Yeah,
bang that out.
Strike up the profits.
All right. Okay. Hey, you know what? Platformers. They're pretty big right now. 3D platformers. Can we make some of those? Yeah, okay, they're more expensive than fighting games, but, like, yeah, we can make an Ape Escape.
Sure can.
We can make a Sly Cooper. All right,
here's Banjo.
Military shooters. Can you? Okay, well, now we're talking. Call of Duty is pretty expensive, but we can do it. And, like, each of these trend chasers has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And chasing after WoW was crazy money, right? That was your studio killed itself money, right? And I thought that was the top. I thought that chasing after MMOs was going to be the top of money into the toilet on fire. But apparently, chasing after gas games, if you just chase after enough of them.
And to be fair to that first point, what 14 did was unprecedented in the sense that, like,
the only one to ever do it.
Yeah, they learned, like, they did 11, so they had enough of, like, an understanding of what they're going into with 14, saw how badly it was fucking up, and then just, like, made a sequel, but it wasn't a sequel, you know?
It's complicated.
But anyone else, anywhere else, would have shut that shit down. Anyone would have shut that shit down.
14 got to do it? It was the same reason why Square was obsessed. They're like, well, it has the name Final Fantasy on it, so it can't be an absolute piece of fucking dog shit, because our investors are going to pull out their shares if Final Fantasy is absolute trash.
A numbered Final Fantasy cannot be a failure.
And so, hey, guess what? You know why they also got a fucking free pass? Because it's Square, and it said Final Fantasy on the fucking box. Most devs don't get that kind of fucking benefit of the doubt.
So yeah,
it is so bananas.
The chase of live service, where it's like all the ongoing costs of your MMO with even more dev time and even more resources.
And you're competing with Fortnite. You're competing with all the MiHoYo games. You're competing with Marvel Rivals
now with NetEase, you know.
Like there's a part when like you're developing your game, and I have not developed a game, so I cannot speak to this. This is purely my own like emotional foresight or whatever the fuck you want to call it, where it's like, okay, we're making a game that is highly similar to an existing game. Is it better than that game? No. Does it have a unique hook that can hook people that other game doesn't have? No. Well, shit. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's just overall, you know, the discussion here and over time for the last fucking 5 years has just been like, all or nothing now is the only way. That's it. All or nothing. Everything is all or nothing. Spend hard, go big. Lose hard, go home. There's no semblance of...
If you're not first, you're last.
There's no semblance of smaller, stable releases. Again, you know, critical, darling, profitable, everything's like that. You just can't, right? It's a market that is just all it is. It has to be dethrone the gods or burn everything, or
It's really fascinating that you mentioned dethrone the gods, because there's two games that I think about when you say that. The one is Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter has been the king of its own genre and has been chased by like a fucking 20 imitators, and they have all crashed against the rocks of the eternal shore as Monster Hunter goes on to make infinity fucking dollars, right? Bankrolling Capcom. And the other one that I think of is a game we're not super familiar with, which is Tarkov. Mm-hmm. So Tarkov invented the extraction genre, mm-hmm. and like Marathon and shit like that. Like there are games that were supposed to chase Tarkov, but it has become clear that people don't like extraction games. They like Tarkov. That's the one they want to play.
I see. Okay.
The trend is already over. It's like not a game couldn't even release to chase it before it became clear that it's the one game.
As insane as it is to learn about this list, as you said, like, we're learning about it via the cancellations, and therefore the best time was really yesterday. You know, it's like we're not learning about it through 5 Concords in a row and then a confused stage show going, I don't get it. Why not? Kids, don't you love Kratos?
we don't. The past couple of years is like, where are all the Sony games? Well, we are watching them get burned in a garbage can in front of us in this news section on the podcast. You said 17 games are on that list?
17.
That is multiple years of first-party output that are just not going to happen now. Just not going to happen. This would be a great time for Microsoft to swoop in with their own first pod. Jesus Christ.
Well, so this is... I was thinking it, but it's like, does the effect of this, like, does it make Sony suddenly basically sound like how Microsoft did in this generation, even though you
Microsoft
are still
puts their games out on Sony consoles?
Yeah.
There's I saw people talking about how Halo is the Master Chief Collection is fucking coming to PS5 by this year, and that's the end, man. If I see Master Chief fucking using X and square button prompts on a video game, that is the end of that shit.
I guess we just don't know what the hardware coffers look like relative to, you know, the upper ceiling of what they're willing to invest in studios for first party games here, and for, you know, quadruple A in particular. So I don't know how bad this damage is. You know, you don't.
It's really bad.
It's really bad, but like,
the damage is in the billions.
But it's just like, how close are we to that magic pixel when you look at this? Because this sounds like death. Is what it sounds like. If you were taking that level and applying it to, like, there were less failures on the fucking big deal that just fell through. What was the goddamn company that was buying everything? Then the Saudi deal fell through.
Tencent?
No. With IDOS and shit.
Oh, the fucking
Embracer.
Sweeter.
There were
Embracer,
less corpses in the Embracer deal than there are in this. It's crazy. You know, like, this sounds lethal when I look at that amount of games on a fucking list of, you know, but yeah, so I'm just like, I don't know, man. We're in the negative health values.
You know what the dumbest part is like, there's something that we neither of us, because we don't care about it, but like, we haven't brought it up once. It's like, hey, Sony, do you think any of these games are going to compete with Grand Theft Auto 5 online on your own console? No, they're not.
I don't know. Embracer burned like 100+ games. Okay. Then I'm going off of, I suppose, the vibes of the standout titles, the biggest titles that were part of that, the stuff that hits the wall, like Deus Ex and you know, everything that IDOS released and everything that was
like the idea behind this live service shit from Sony was like the combination of multiple different styles of development that all took the worst lesson. So like, take like Blumhouse, right? They're like, well, we'll buy like 40 scripts for horror movies and we'll make them cheap because one of them will be Paranormal Activity. And Sony went, that's a great idea. You know what we should do? We should buy 17 games worth of dev time and then make them all the most expensive games we've ever made. And then one of them will maybe blow up and recoup its own losses.
And that's it, right? So like 10 years ago when we were going, oh yeah, like this gas shit sucks and this is dumb and it's going to take a lot of pain, but hey, eventually a lesson will be learned, right? Well, no, because the success one, the one that breaks out and makes gangbusters money forever, continues to exist.
We actually got to see what it would take to give up, and that is Suicide Squad and Concord.
Oh, out the window, never mind, undo. Yeah.
Like, oh wow.
Yeah.
There's
on all fronts.
There's a piece of dialogue from a movie I really like called Contact. It's based off Carl Sagan's book, in which they're building a big machine to contact aliens, and it gets blown up. The main character speaks with a rich benefactor, and he says, "Why buy one where you can buy two for twice the price?" And I think about that when I look at this nonsense fucking story. Why have one live service game that could do well when we could have 20 live service games that do? Think of how much more money we would make. Well, you actually lost. Yeah, you actually lost billions.
Right, because
and you wasted, like, think of the years of lost dev time on these projects.
So you got boy math and girl math, and now you have CEO math. Which is, if we can make 2 Fortnites, then we can have twice the Fortnite money.
That's true.
Right.
Listen,
of course.
Does Tomb Raider need multiplayer? No, but if we put all this money into making Tomb Raider multiplayer, we'll make that money back 5 times.
Corpomath.
Is that true? No.
Corpomath. It all adds up. The numbers can't fail. Look at them. Oh man. Yeah, that's a lot of studios, man. That's a lot of big studios.
I feel the same talking about this story as I did sitting in my fucking parents' basement looking at Kaz Hirai say the phrase $599.
Discipline.
Like, it's the same exact emotion of, oh no.
We're committing to it. You will listen. You will learn. Yeah. This is this is the part where you go like, oh yeah, we're going to be feeling this for, and it's like, no, there's no end point. There's like, you go like, oh yeah, the damage is, no, it's that you, untold.
Did you see
Concord on its own, we were freaking out at the amount of billions. Like,
yeah, times 17 or 16.
These aren't Balatro games getting canceled, you know.
Did you see Shuhei Yoshida's interview about this shit?
What'd he say?
He said, yeah, I would have told them not to do that shit. That shit's stupid, but that's probably why they got rid of me.
Got it. Thanks, Shu. Cool. For sure.
It's so big of him to be out and be like, I would have seen that shit coming. I would have told him. Yeah, sure, man. Whatever.
Oh, man. Yeah, again, you want to fucking... like, one could argue the cancellation is a response to seeing it coming, perhaps too late. You know? We're not looking at 5 Concord releases into unreleases.
Oh, hey, let's think about how awesome that would be.
Yeah, I mean, as far as podcast content goes.
Oh, man. It'd be fucking awesome, dude.
Trust.
Because, like, bro, okay, you remember Concord came out and everybody was just like, oh, I gotta get fucking on that Concord because I only got like 10 days worth of footage I can get, right? If there was a fucking Horizon MMO that came out, dude, I would no-life that shit for a month because you know it's never gonna last.
Just the influencer-only server energy. You know? Everyone online is filming a bit. Everyone is making their video essay or streaming to see what the fuck is going on. No one is playing for real. The Babylon's Fall shit. People are jumping off of cliffs and running in circles, and just everyone's got TTV in front of their name.
It's fuck. Oh. Hey, let me ask you a question. You ever play a game, a multiplayer game, and you see somebody with the TTV in their name, and you pull out your fucking phone, and you go watch them, and you beat their ass, and then you're like, all right, now let's get the live reaction.
No, I can't say that I have.
You can do that when you play Dead by Daylight. It's real sick.
Oh man,
it's sick as fuck. No, you don't stream snipe them. You stream eulogize them. It's great. It's great. I love it.
Yeah. Anyway, so there's other stuff as well. It seems like an unannounced Warhammer game has also been canceled, or was canceled at the end of last year.
From who? Do you know?
Let's see. Thought Pennies was the name of the developer, and the description, and this, I mean, the description of the game is a fantasy live service co-op PvE action RPG with a cast of unique heroes and playstyles. Does that describe anything to you?
It describes fucking Vermintide.
That,
like
sure.
A game that already exists.
Yeah, co-op PvE with unique characters. Live service fantasy.
Yes, absolutely. It describes numerous games that already exist. So, hey, you know what's a really good example to chase that? Is like, let's talk about Warhammer games. Jacob, was it Jacob Geller? No, is it Racevik? It's Racevik, who has a video about how much he loves Mass Effect and he's jealous of Warhammer games. Games Workshop just gives out their fucking license to fucking anybody. There are so many fucking Warhammer games. There are so goddamn many. So you say like, hey, the Warhammer game got canceled. You know what? Fuck it. There's going to be 10 out tomorrow. They spread that shit everywhere.
Man.
You can't go 10 feet in a Steam sale without tripping over multiple Warhammer games.
So it doesn't actually mean anything as things come and go.
Oh my God. They'll let anybody use that shit. And a bunch of them are terrible. But if you want to play Warhammer games, bro, you have an option. You have many options.
But when they're good.
Why am I not?
But when they're good, though.
Yeah, when they're good, they're good.
Yeah. Right. No RTS yet. So what is Dawn of War?
Oh, don't fall for that. Don't that. Oh no.
Dawn of War. All right.
That Dawn of War 3 was so bad that it like killed Warhammer RTSs.
Man. Okay. Well, look. As we've described, the putting out more live service games means more live service dollars, and what better way to accompany that shot with a chaser over here. Love this one. Many in the video game industry are hoping for GTA 6 to price at, if not $80, then perhaps $100, because the bump could then correspond to an overall industry game cost bump. And if people are willing to spend that on GTA 6, then surely they will spend it on whatever piece of shit you're about to put out. Forever, right? That's how that works? I think that's how that works. It's how it worked before.
I have a competing article for you that I was able to pull up and get ready while you were saying that shit.
Hello, Larian. What do you have to say?
From Wednesday, the 29th of May, 2024. Quote, PS5 players are buying fewer new games, but spending more than ever overall. Why is that? Because game prices are too high. It has resulted in a net loss for PlayStation in terms of game sales, but microtransactions have made up the slack. So if you increase the cost of every single game and fill them up as live service, you are going to create a situation with even less winners than you have now, but the winners will be bigger, and the winners will be Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, but because people are willing to, right? No, for sure.
The winner will be Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, totally. That's the way
and
that
only
works.
Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, and because Grand Theft Auto is, when they move the whole thing forward and every game costs more and we like the cost goes up and stuff, people are making more money than ever now, right? Wages are doing great and they have way more money to spend on games. So why not just scale that up to. Yeah. So Baldur's Gate 3 developer Larian tweeted in response to this story, "You're not supposed to say this out loud." A good company raises its salaries in line with inflation so that their staff don't die or something. But games prices haven't risen with inflation. This isn't the reason the industry is in the shit for now, but it is an uncomfortable truth. On the other hand, the responsibility for a game developer is to make sure that the game they show lives up to that promise and that investment from the player. I
don't buy that at all. When you say the game prices haven't risen with inflation, you only can make that claim if you're only talking about the game as it is the day it comes out, without any of the extra stuff that would have been packed in otherwise.
But just the idea of putting it on like this thing that we kind of felt, because do you remember for us, we were talking about how in Canada it was Street Fighter 4 that increased the Canadian game price up by $10 and then it never went back down, right?
Yes.
So here it's like, oh, GTA is what moves it forward, and like we can all follow suit, right? We have to sit back in the shadows and wait and see. And if the big cat makes its move, if everyone gets used to that and they're willing to do it on that, then we can come out with everything next week and crank that shit up, you know?
So, like, the whole discussion's kind of a stupid moot point, because every time they raise the prices, sales go down because people know what games cost. Like just straight up. And it's like, well, I don't care about my competitors' sales. We're all fighting for the same dollars in the market. It's like, that's true. But if people look at their PlayStation 6 and go, well, that's $1,000 and I can only get one game every year instead of 3 or whatever the fuck, they're just not going to buy it at all.
They're
going to go start doing drugs.
Picture the story. Picture the story that we just covered before. Picture the Concord feeling, except you just spent 130 Canadian dollars on that release.
Yeah.
As the quote full price.
Once bitten, twice shy is real forever.
If you're charging me 130 fucking dollars, tell me that Jam Project music is going to be included as well as licensed Japanese OPs, you sons of bitches. Fuck off.
Now, to be fair, there is something that's happening here, which is the games market. Cost-wise, if you have a wide variety of tastes, the games market is actually democratized in price way more than a lot of other mediums. There are a lot of games that come out. A lot. You and I, and I'm sure a lot of the people listening to this in particular, have massive backlogs of really good games that many of us picked up for dirt cheap, either at a used place because they're a couple of years old, or a Steam sale, or whatever the fuck. There is plenty of shit to play all the time. And if games get too hot for price, then you can just wait. Now, granted, I am like a big proponent of the cult of the new. I'm obsessed with the new.
Certainly are.
Obsessed.
Yes.
And so are a lot of the people listening to this, the power users.
Yes.
And I'm playing through Ghost of Tsushima, which I did not finish on release. And I'm like, why the fuck didn't I just wait for this to fucking come out on PC? Like, the DLC's included and it runs way better, and they added all the Legends shit and all that. And it's like, it's taking somebody like me, who is obsessed with brand new right now, and go, I should wait on Sony games until they're done because they're cheaper and all that shit. Now, granted, this doesn't work for Nintendo games. So, smart move, Nintendo, never changing.
Yeah, I like when we have these moments of balls exposed, asshole out, just full on, tell us exactly what your stupid fucking mentality is. Like, just tell us transparently, because that price feel, that $10 moment was something that, like, I remember, like, we talked about it, like James Small mentioned it. He's like, hey, did you notice? It's like, yeah. And we kind of mentioned it ourselves. We're like, hey, that's the moment. They never fucking dropped it back. But now you get to have this where it's like, oh no, openly, you're just saying the quiet part out loud. And the ramifications are felt. Like, everybody gets to see how much of a fucking dumbass you are, and it's less of a mystery when it all goes wrong, of course. And then, yeah, as this continues to happen, you can just go spend, I don't know, $15 or $20 on a smaller game that pops up on Steam somewhere and satisfy that same potential hour count that you'd otherwise would be looking at.
So here's the really fun part, right?
And sorry, just the other bit too is that like I'm not obviously, as someone who's not like in the GTA fucking space, I might be wrong, but isn't GTA also one of those games where Rockstar made bank on the tail end with the GTA Online they sold?
No. Grand Theft Auto games make infinity dollars within 10 minutes of their release
every time, but
they then make double infinity dollars on the long tail.
Yes, okay, so double infinity, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying there's double infinity dollars that they know is coming with the online portion, clearly. So it's not even about that initial. Yeah. Anyway, all right, go ahead.
So no, the real fun part is that there's a lot of devs that are going to talk about this, and yeah, let's say GTA comes out and it's $10 more than other games. We're going to get to see a really fun experiment where a bunch of publishers get to find out that their game is not fucking Grand Theft Auto 6.
Right.
Where they're gonna go, we're
no,
it's like, shut up.
But Rockstar,
dude, not you.
Rockstar led the charge. They did it. We can all do it now, guys.
No,
it's safe.
No, Nintendo can, and maybe God of War can.
God,
but you can't. Not you.
Just getting out of the trenches, turning around. I can do it too. Yeah. Again, these moments of transparency, I appreciate. I do. Right on. Okay. Let's get it moving. Beyond that, I mean, not much else to it except, rest in peace, David Lynch.
Terrible.
Passed away this week. A lifetime of smoking is apparently responsible for that.
There were three things that contributed to this. One of which is his lifetime obsession with smoking, which, to his credit and detriment, he made look really cool.
He makes it look really cool.
Like, that's the worst part.
Secondary animation, the smoke trailing from your hand is great for art.
The second of which is that because of his deteriorating health and the current endemicness of COVID, because people can't take precautions, meant that he was very unlikely to be able to leave his home safely.
Last year, that's what they announced. Mm-hmm.
The third of which is that the smoke from the LA fires didn't do him any favors either.
So
it's like personal, societal, and then environmental.
Yeah, so 78 is definitely on the young side for that. That fucking sucks. And through this, people are going on and now discovering all the crazy shit he's worked on over the years that he never told anybody about, like the comic books that he's written, and and just like his name is attached to so many fucking random projects out there.
I did
besides
not know
films
until his death that he had made Eraserhead, and then his big break being Elephant Man he got because Mel Brooks was like, yo, Eraserhead's awesome, you should have this dude make Elephant Man.
Incredible.
And I think about Mel Brooks as the absolute last person in the world to go, yeah, Eraserhead. But fuck it, he's got good taste.
Yeah. To say nothing of the fucking PlayStation 2 commercials with the duck. Like, what creatively called him over to be like, yeah, sure, a video game console, that's about right. That it quacked and it walked through a portal. Oh, man. Anyways, all right, let's take some letters.
Hey, if you want to send it a letter, send it to castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. Send it to castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. Hey, if you worked on one of many games that were live service and got canceled, write into castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com and tell us how bad that sucks shit.
Yeah, there you go. Put a little asterisk in your.
We won't use your name, we promise.
Put a couple asterisks in your subject. I'll catch that shit. Also, new Darkest Dungeon 2 DLC, The Abomination, is coming out. Looks rad as shit.
We forgot to talk about Drake suing UMG for defamation.
Yeah. Was it hedgehogs that grind their shit into a paste?
It is.
It's pretty nuts that you can take something already pretty fucking gross and just keep it going, It really just...
Man's getting into a situation in which people are gonna...
I thought it was as bad as it got, and here we are.
People are going to go into a courtroom and go, "This is why I believe Drake was a creep, Your Honor."
I mean, sticking to the guns, there's something to admire about just like the level of tone deafness still after all this time, not catching up. But anyway, that's fine. Hey, let's take one over here from Chef. They're Chewy and Fuckface. Chef here. Not a question, but watching Willie and Reggie navigate their way through cyberpunk and dealing with the corporal bullshit reminds me of the times corporations fucked over people IRL. There was one time where eBay had the head of security essentially harass and threaten an elderly couple who blogged about the company. It ranged from doxing the couple to sending them fetal pigs and then threatening their lives. Of course, eBay let him take the fall for almost everything, but I thought it would be a good addition to the list of unhinged corporate reactions.
I didn't expect to hear the phrase fetal pigs today.
Yeah, that absolutely sounds like an Arasaka or Corp Cyberpunk Corp mission. That's an NCPD log file you read about after you walk past a bunch of corpses under a bridge somewhere.
Boy, send them to pigs.
So the eBay stalking scandal was conducted in 2019 by eBay and its contractors, and scrolling. The Steiners were harassed and threatened both online and physically in their home by deliveries of things such as a bloody pig mask, live cockroaches and spiders, a funeral wreath, large orders of pizza, and pornographic magazines with David Steiner's name on them were sent to a neighbor's house. What the fuck is happening? 2019? What? eBay? What? I don't... Okay.
Stop talking shit about us. All right. Let's do some crazy shit.
This was 2019? Like... You mean that site that I occasionally forget exists and then it shows up in the shop results? Next to everything else. What the fuck?
Hey, do you want to buy the thing you're looking for but damaged and it'll never get to you?
Oh my God.
No, not really. I actually don't really. That doesn't seem like a good deal.
They flew from California to Boston. Employees went to vandal their personal vehicle, break into their garage, and place a GPS tracker on their car. This is insane. This is the most insane, unhinged fucking thing I've okay. Yeah.
Saying I'm crazy? I'll show you who's crazy. That's that energy coming through.
Don't talk shit about eBay. I will fly to your house and murder you if you talk shit about my company. What the fuck? Okay.
Oh man, we're talking shit about eBay right now.
Abram says, hello, Willie and Pat. Abram here.
Hey, man.
So since you brought up Bamani on the previous podcast and Pat was talking about misspellings, I wanted to send my favorite of all time. In 2002, Konami released Guitar Freak's 8th Mix and Drum Mania 7th Mix power-up version, which had the first release was the first release to support their EMU system for save scoring. On the login screen, the purpose of the game's release and something appears at the beginning of every game. They misspelled their own company name as Konmai. This led to an inside joke in the Bamani community. The classic Konmai quality, for example.
Oh, good.
When the company did something disappointing or released something of poor quality. Right. This is like Revelatons or Capcom.
That's, dude, like, seeing that goddamn Capcom logo come up, filled me with like an emotion I can't describe.
To make matters worse, Konami was so upset by this that they banned use of Konmai as a player inputted name in their games. like Beatmania and so on.
Just fucking fix it.
It's on the same level as slurs as the N-word. So more than 20 years later, they still ban Konmai in all of their games. Konami has been mad for 20 plus years.
Love it. I love it.
That's beautiful. That's glorious. Fantastic. Never change, man. You know what? Commit to it. Fucking commit. At this point, like, people are making the new games and they're going down a localization Excel sheet of banned terms, and they don't even know why the terms are there anymore, but they just
what the fuck is it on my? Oh.
Yeah, but they put them in, right? It's the monkeys that don't know that approaching the ladder will get them beat up, or why. We're just the experiment about, like, you put the ladder, and then, like, the monkeys that climb up, if anything tries to go up to the top and reach for the grape, they all get sprayed with the hose.
Okay.
And so eventually they start attacking any monkey that goes up to the ladder to climb it, and then eventually
why are we beating up monkeys that go towards the ladder?
And then we remove the ladder, and now we change the monkeys out, and now we just beat up monkeys that go towards there. We don't know why we do. It's that. Like, I don't know what Konmai is, but it says we have to ban it in our game because this 20 years ago.
Well, now I'm going to start using Konmai as a slur because it seems bad if it's next to these other slurs.
Good shit. Good shit. I like that. That's perfect. All right. Take it easy, everybody.
Have a good week, bud.